AM 590, WOW, Omaha.
I'm Christine Lisi. The winner of the Browns quarterback competition is Deshaun Watson. The man with the $230 million guaranteed contract beat out Shedeur Sanders to be Cleveland's QB1. The decision announced 2 days after Watson called out fans who booed him during the preseason game against the Bills when he was 5 for 12, 35 yards, 1 interception over 4 second-half drives. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
I'm shocked. If this was just a football decision, just football, I haven't seen every day at practice, I would probably say coin flip, 50-50. Start the guy you want. It doesn't really matter to me. After Saturday's press conference, I'm shocked that they did this to the Cleveland fans. I've said if I was a Cleveland fan and Deshaun's still starting week 3, I would not go to the game.
Dan Orlovsky on the Pat McAfee Show. 49ers owner Jed York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges today after being arrested in Ohio on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. Steelers coach Mike McCarthy says the team's at an impasse with cornerback Joey Porter Jr. as he remains on the PUP list with a back injury. He's in line for an extension entering the final year of his current contract.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Tuesday, now that the Browns have named Deshaun Watson QB1, we ask Adam Schefter what's next for Cleveland when he joins us at 8 a.m. Eastern. It's on Sportsman, 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Omaha, Lincoln, and the surrounding 5-state area. This is your new afternoon routine. Handley and Hansen. On AM 590, WOW. Connect with the show at Handley and Hansen on Twitter and Instagram. Watch us live on YouTube or call the show at 531-895-0590.
Little hand says it's time to rock and roll.
And here we go. Now, live from the AM 590 WOW studio, here's Nick Handley.
Well, we're waiting.
And Grant Hansen.
Your booze mean nothing. I've seen what makes you cheer.
Another week. Congratulations to everyone out there. We've made it through camp. We're ready to start getting into some college football. Week 0's in front of us. How excited are you for that? I'm Nick Handley. He's Grant Hansen. Justice Rhody is our producer. It is Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW on a sun-splashed Monday.
Well, not really. I mean, it started to rain.
It started out
It began
very ominous.
God, this is crazy. We talked about this last week, and I swear to God, this is the most we'll talk about.
Let's get into drought. Let's get into drought conditions.
I mean, come on. What is going on? This is like the cloudiest, gloomiest, strangest August I can remember.
You know what they call this? This is called a rainy pattern.
Well, and also think about this. What if this isn't fall camp? I thought this week was still fall camp. But it's not, because now classes started. But it's not really week 1 prep for Ohio. That's next week, or I guess Thursday begins Thursday.
Yes.
But this is like I'm declaring this Twilight Zone week. Because we have college football on Saturday.
We do.
But it's not like fully here. And
you get
we have this week
appetizer.
of practice. It's not like fully Ohio week prep for Nebraska football, but it's not fall camp anymore either. So I'm calling this Twilight Zone week. Get me out of Twilight Zone week and get me into week 1, please. Sooner the better. We're here to do that for you today.
Yes, and we've got a lot to get to on the show. As you can imagine, Matt Rhule spoke to the media on Saturday. We'll be playing some of the thoughts from the head coach as he kind of laid out what was kind of fun hearing Matt Rhule talk, as he's laying out what their week looks like. They're officially done with their camp portion of preparations. As you mentioned, they will start their Ohio game plan week. They're going to get all the guys acclimated to that normal school structure starting today as classes begin in the University of Nebraska system. Congrats to all of them out there on your first day of school.
Silly week.
And I wonder how many people actually physically go to class.
So by the time, my freshman year, everybody tried it.
Okay.
Everybody tried to go during the middle of COVID, and they made it like optional to attend. So there are the people that have the wherewithal to go to class in person and do better, and they all showed up. there weren't that many of them. A lot of people just stayed home as soon as they heard it was optional. And so by the time you got to the second semester of that during freshman year, they're like, we're all going online pretty much. And if you are in person, you have to be there. There's no more of this optional BS. And after that, I mean, by the time you got to, freshman, sophomore year, first semester, at that point, it was everybody's in person. So unless you have a fully online class.
Right.
Now, I always tried to all of my electives, I tried to get online.
But you were, okay, so you were still in school post-COVID, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so did that allow itself to give you more remote learning opportunities than what it had before?
I mean, I'll tell you this. I took all of my minor classes in business administration. I took all of those online.
Okay.
And I tried to take most of my electives I was done with by my first semester of junior year. But it's I tried to make sure that all of my major classes were in person. Anything I had to do with my major, I was taking in person. And then anything I didn't, if there was an online option, I was doing that.
Yeah, because obviously we are decades apart.
Yeah.
The first week was always fun. You got to see everybody. You're seeing all the ladies looking good. It's warm out. Oh, it was great.
Except for when they do those weird culty rituals over at the sorority houses.
The what?
It gets real culty real quick over there.
Culty, huh?
Yeah, that's how I always felt like it was.
Yeah. But then as you start to get into week 2, week 3, all of a sudden you realize a lot of the people that you were seeing walking around on campus, you're not seeing as much anymore because either they're just not going to class, because remember, we had online classes, but it was not nearly at the level that they have now, where even as freshmen, sophomores, you're doing that. So
right.
It was one of those situations where you would just stop seeing people because people just all of a sudden had their own schedule and were sleeping in on classes and not attending.
I think it's overblown a little bit. Just that it's not like most people are totally online. Because if you want to be totally online, you just go to the University of Phoenix or something, and do it that way. Most people are in person. I still swear to God, the easiest class I ever took, was statistics. There was journalism statistics.
Mm-hmm. Journalism statistics?
It was, yes. Yeah. It was statistics.
I thought you were going to give me a math.
And it wasn't
stats
about
functions.
Journalism. It was literally just a dumbed down version of statistics for J school people.
Oh, is this contemporary math?
Yes.
Is that what you're talking about?
Contemporary math. That was the name.
Contemporary math. Is this are we talking basic addition here?
It was potentially the most, and I'm telling you, Nick.
That's why a lot of people
there were
into
people in this class, Nick, that
math.
did not know how to do mean.
This is stats.
we went into
for dummies.
First week.
I would have loved this.
Mean, median, and mode. You remember mean, median, and mode?
Absolutely.
Yeah, but that was like a September, late September, early October lesson.
Mm-hmm.
And there were people that were on the struggle bus in that. I was like, whoa. Meanwhile, I had my high school geometry teacher, Mrs. Shields, who was amazing, but was telling us the whole time, it was it'll be way harder in college. You won't be able to get away with that in college. It's you got away with more in college than you ever did in high school. Oh, that's the biggest lie that anybody ever tells you, is that you won't be able to get away with it in college. As long as you, they don't care. They'll let you fail,
well, when we had a
but
test
you can get away with a lot of stuff.
We had a test out for math when I went to UNO, and I remember I was one on the lower level of college level algebra, which was the equivalent of what I had my freshman year in high school. So I'm like, cool. Give me that one. Get it out of the way. I'm done with math.
Wait, so Grant, you never took history of rock and roll or anything?
I did.
That's the easiest class.
History of rock and roll was fun, though.
Did you guys ever take film history appreciation?
No, but I did take it. There was
a
serial killers class that I took sophomore year. Yeah, that was a fun class.
There was there's a bunch of modern
Charles Starkweather.
Yeah, I read there was that one. Is Professor James A. Garza. Shout out.
Wait, there's a class specifically on serial killers.
I don't know.
Yeah, it's called modern crime.
Yeah, modern crime. History.
Most
of
it
crime.
is serial killers.
Oh, okay.
There was some stuff that wasn't. That class was crazy because he just let you take home everything.
You get a lot of criminology students in that one.
Well, and he'd talk about Jack the Ripper about 47 times throughout the semester.
Interesting.
So there was that too.
Interesting.
But then he would be real locked in about hey, make sure if you don't sign the attendance sheet. He was real locked in on signing the attendance sheet. But then you could always just be hey, if I'm not there, sign for me.
Well, the hustle and bustle is happening today. It is first day of class, so that means Nebraska's back to a little bit more of what their routine's going to be. They're going to get acclimated to that. They get into Ohio game prep, which, of course, you can catch that game right here on AM 590 W next Saturday. This Thursday, though, we've got Husker Volleyball as they open up the season.
Also, folks, be prepared. I heard them talking about this on Sports Nightly, and our friends Jessica and Kyle, and I would tell you again, because we need to get the message out there. It's going to be a really weird time because they play the first match that's a best of 3.
Mm-hmm.
Then there's a second match that's a best of 3. Then there's a concert. And if Nebraska's won the first match, they play the winner of the second match after the concert. So it could be a incredibly, incredibly late night broadcast for John Baylor and company.
You know what? Once it goes over to the network coverage, we wipe our hands of it. We're good.
I'm not talking about us. I'm talking about you at home.
I'm thinking about number one right now.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about us and our responsibilities. But we will have Husker Volleyball coming your way Thursday, Saturday, and Sunday right here on AM 590 WOW. So this is a great week. Again, congrats, everyone. We've made it through. If you want to weigh in on the conversation at any point today, we're with you, of course, till 6 o'clock. 531-895-0590. You can also email us. I am Nick at 590WOW.com, Grant at 590WOW.com, or Justice at 590WOW.com. First flag football game is in the books yesterday.
Cool.
As well. We ended in a 13-13 tie.
Oh, what is that?
Don't know how I feel about it, although the 13 more points than we scored in the first 5 weeks of last year. So that's awesome.
There you go. Like that.
Is progress right there. Hell
nice
yeah.
job, Coach Handley.
Very, very. I'm one of 6, by the way.
I helped.
We've got a staff. We've got.
Whoa. That's crazy.
Yeah, we've got a staff.
That's more than my high school basketball team had. Like, that's more coaches than my high school basketball team. Most of them probably around here.
We've got 2 coaches that handle offense, 2 coaches that handle defense. Then we've got our coaches on the sideline regulating there. Like, we've got our quality control coaches. We've got
who's handling scout?
We've got our GM. Yeah, we got scouting going on at this. The other field, the other games going on at the other field. We got our.
And then of course you got one coach who's director of excessive celebrations. Yep. Make sure he coordinates. Those.
You laugh, but that probably does exist. We played in a league last year where one of the coaches did have a GoPro. I'm just going to leave.
Oh my God!
Just going to leave it at that. Just going to leave it
horrible.
at that.
So you got Connor Stallions in the league is what I'm hearing. Are we sending coaches and parents incognito into the bushes to try to get some extra game film?
No, this guy was not hiding at all. In fact, he was he would show up to other games and just have a GoPro on, and he didn't even try to hide. So
I hope my parents moved this weekend and got through it uninjured. It was great.
Connor in the stream says, I hope you have better timeout management than Eberflus, Nick.
There you go.
Yeah, you know what?
Do you have timeouts?
We do. We get 2.5.
Okay.
And we did use ours wisely. We were going for the game-winning drive. We got down to, I think it was about 1:30 on a third down. So we didn't want to leave too much time on the clock, but we still wanted to, strategize what we wanted to do. It blew up in our face, but we are defensively. We held them too, so that's good. But I thought we used our timeouts wisely. But that's a fair point there, Connor. Appreciate that.
So when you help people move anywhere, it's remarkable to me how hard it is to tell what is actually heavy and what will be heavy and what isn't.
Where's this coming from?
You look at moving my parents.
Okay.
Yeah. So, like, you look at this like a table and you think, that can't be too bad. And then it ends up feeling, like, incredibly heavy. And then, meanwhile, the couch that we lifted was pretty heavy. But, like a chair or something, and you're like, this is going to be brutal. And then it's not at all.
Moving
it's pretty
sucks.
easy.
Moving just sucks.
I agree. Don't move.
I don't like it.
It's a thing that you have to carry in life.
It's not fun, especially, and I used to a long time ago. I do not have a truck anymore, but I used to. And, of course, anytime you had a truck, I was like, hey.
Also, if
what
you
got
ever
going on Saturday?
If you ever want like a
asking?
litmus test of like how much stuff you have, how much stuff you've accumulated, all you have to do is move. Because then you really figure out, like, if you're in a place for long enough, how much crap you just
Nobody has ever said this. Wow, I thought I had more stuff than that.
Yeah.
No one has ever said that when
That's
they move.
That's a great point.
They're never like, oh, wow. I thought that'd be a lot more challenging. Man, I don't have a lot of stuff. No, it's like, oh my God, why do I still have this crap?
Yes.
Yeah. A very, very interesting article written by Tom Chattel in the Omaha World Herald. You guys all saw this.
Oh, yeah.
And it has to do with Nebraska football's standing from a financial standpoint compared to its peers when it comes to NIL. And this whole thing It stemmed from a ranking that had come out last week. And this was the NIL Standard. It's an actual publication that has the top 25 teams, and it measures their essentially their evaluations for power conference football teams, the NIL evaluations. And now these things, it's well known that they're sort of loosely put together. Some might be shortchanged a bit, while others might have their evaluation a little bit more exaggerated. There's some good examples that Tom puts in this write-up. But in this write-up, at least how the NIL standard puts their current evaluations, Nebraska is not in the top 25, and Nebraska is pretty much in the middle of the Big Ten, a little bit more in the heavier middle side, but there are 7 teams that are in the Big Ten that have a higher NIL evaluation.
8, I think, actually.
Was it 8?
Yeah, 8.
Okay.
Yeah. Nebraska's 9th.
Okay, yeah, you're right. 8 in front of Nebraska. And so if you look at that, and then Nebraska is just right there, basically outside the top 25, right there around 30.
Yep.
So for that number and this whole idea, Nebraska is spending $23.7 million according to the NIL standard evaluation, which was good for 9th in the Big Ten. So if you look at sort of as smack dab in the middle of the pack as you can be, and given the accuracy of these findings, it led to a conversation, and Tom Chattel was able to get some comments from Athletic Director Troy Dannen. And first of all, he talks about how a lot of those numbers can be just inaccurate more than anything. But what he said, and this is where it does get a lot of conversation going about Nebraska from a financial standpoint, is Troy Dannen says they're not flirting with the top of the league, the top of the conference when it comes to where they're headed financially, NIL. And this is interesting because, you see all these things that are going on with Nebraska. The facilities are fantastic as far as what they have, and the brand new workout facility that opened up, the Go Big project. And I mean, for anybody who has been inside that, you've seen it. It is, you can't imagine that there's many more that are better than that in college football. And there's other areas of investment going into the stadium renovation and a lot of things that are happening around the scenes. But
Nebraska has never had to ask for more money than it does right now.
Right. And that's the thing. When it comes to having to pay for the talent on the field, it may have surprised some that Nebraska is still falling behind there.
There's so many questions, and I'm going to ask a bunch of these questions to you during the next segment. When I say you, I mean you, the listener, because I want to hear from you on where you come down on a lot of these things. 531-895-0590. The whole big thing, Nick, is it's a whole chicken or the egg thing, right? Do you win because you get money, or do you
get the money because
get
you're
money
winning?
because you win and then win more?
There's examples of this. We're going to get into kind of the nuts and bolts of this on the other side of the break. And again, if you want to weigh in on this, give your thoughts on it. Look, money is being asked for, essentially. 531-895-0590. Getting things fired up. Want to hear from you. Going to get back into this topic on the other side of the break. Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
When it's worth celebrating, make it a destination. Make it the Ballroom at Round the Bend Steakhouse in Ashland, Nebraska. Just minutes from Lincoln and Omaha. From I Do to The Last Dance, your special day deserves the space, the setting, and the atmosphere you just can't get in the city. Out here where the sunsets are better and the moments mean more. Dates fill up fast, so don't wait. Visit roundthebendsteakhouse.com and book your wedding with The Ballroom today.
Your backyard could be the best seat in Omaha. Crone Landscape Construction has spent 40 years building them. Paver patios, retaining walls, outdoor kitchens, fire pits, ponds, and landscape lighting, all designed and installed by the same local crew that's been doing it since 1986. No call centers, no franchises, just Gary Crone and his team and work that holds up. Get on the schedule now for fall. Call Crone Landscape at 402-779-3377. That's 402-779-3377.
You like a little competition? The Marksman Indoor Range has leagues and bowling pin shoots all year long, so you can shoot for score against the best in the area. New to it, certified instructors teach everything from the fundamentals to concealed carry, with safety first on every lane. 11 lanes, over 100 rentals to try. Families welcome. The Marksman, just west of Elkhorn in Waterloo. Open 7 days. Online at themarksmanindoorrange.com.
On the upcoming edition of the Great Outdoor Radio Show here on AM 590 WOW, the big Boomstock Outdoor Concert event, it takes center stage. We'll be telling you why you should attend it, and we'll have a little music from it as well. It's all about Boomstock with me, Greg Wagner, and my buddy Cam Broham, Saturday morning, 9 to 10 on AM 590 WOW. The Great Outdoor Radio Show is presented by Cubby's Convenience Stores, Daniel's Produce, Host Coffee, and Stoysage House of Sausage.
The Ramsey Show.
Need advice on a conversation with his family so that we're not supporting his mom and 4 siblings.
There's not a conversation you're going to have with his family that's going to go well. Decide what you're going to send and send it. And if they don't want to be a part of your life, it stinks, I know. But you cannot make his family self-reliant.
If the relationship is hinging on a paycheck, then there was no relationship.
The Dave Ramsey Show, Monday through Saturday on our sister station, KCRO 660 AM.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Back with you here. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW, 531-895-0590. That is the number to call for your comments on today's show as we approach Nebraska's season opener on September 5th against Ohio, and we've got the way for you to win tickets to that game, tailgate passes, and WOW swag as well. Just set your radio preset and your car to 590, take a photo of that, and go to the contest page on 590WOW.com. Enter that picture. You'll get a chance to win those tickets. Got to do it by the 27th. That is, well, shoot, Nick. Is that Wednesday? No, that's Thursday. Thursday.
The 27th is Thursday.
7th.
Yes.
Enter tickets by then. We'll announce the winner on this Friday's show here on Handley and Hansen. I'm Grant Hansen. He's Nick Handley. Just talking here about this Tom Chattel column, visiting with Troy Dannen about the financial state of affairs for Nebraska athletics. And the moral of the story here is, look, Nebraska's 9th in the Big Ten in spending. And look, it's Troy Dannen's job to generate more revenue for Nebraska in a number of different ways. So that's where the uniform patch stuff comes from. That's where some of the receipt stuff comes from. And he lays out, I think, some fair points in here, right? Like, this is just his job, right? And he said, if we don't do our job, our future is severely limited. This is a quote. No one's doing this because they like having people upset and calling and yelling and threatening. That's not the way this is done. We're doing it to put the University of Nebraska athletic program in a better position for success. Today, the economic price is much more relevant and prevalent than at any time in our past. It's like I said to you before the break, Nick, Nebraska's asking for and needs more money now than ever before. And you saw that email that came out. Nebraska, donor-wise, had its best year ever last year in terms of total donated dollars. There's a number of things that came up to me. And I'm no particular order here. I mean, I think one of my questions of the day for you listening is, if you had a number in your mind that you would be willing to pay for Nebraska to win 8 games this year, what would it be out of your checkbook? And it's not saying that anybody else is donating anything. This is just a you thing. If you donate X amount of dollars to the football program, they'll win 8 games. What's that number? What is the price to you on an individual level that you're willing to pay for Nebraska to win 8?
I honestly don't know if there's a lot of people that would give you a number. And the reason I say that is I think you're working against so many different things in college football and college sports that have really turned fans away. That I always say this: you're going to tune in on Saturdays. That's not changing.
Mm-hmm.
What it's changed when it comes to the people who don't like the direction of college sports, and especially college football, and the big money that's now being put into talent and roster acquisition, is, okay, well, that's where I'm going to draw the line as a fan. Then.
Yeah.
That's where, you know what, I'll watch the games. You guys figure out how to put the team together.
Right.
But don't ask me for any more of my money.
And my number, by the way, is 0. There is no amount of money that I would pay the University for Nebraska to win any amount of games. I think, to me, I've thought a lot about like where my line is over the course of the last few months, especially as we talked about the receipts and different stuff like that. I don't have a problem with them putting naming rights on the stadium. I don't have a problem with ticket promotions to try to actually sell tickets, although that's a sort of a different conversation. Uniform patches. But like when it comes to asking individual fans to donate money, that's where I have a hard time really buying in, because it's not a good investment. Like, even if they win 10 games, Nick, even if they win 11 games, you don't see a return on that other than personal enjoyment.
Good vibes,
maybe.
Maybe. What are good vibes worth?
But if you're coming to me right now at my age, 24 years old, and you say, Grant, I would like you would give me $1,000. Well, it's like, okay, can I take that $1,000 and spend it on literally anything else and get more out of it?
Mm-hmm.
And I think the answer is yes. Like, you could put that money invested in any number of things and get a much better return. And so I think, even especially for younger folks, Gen Z folks, millennials, who haven't reaped the rewards of Nebraska's success. And I know Troy isn't in here specifically asking fans to donate money.
Right.
But that sort of idea is not very attractive at all, because of sort of the economic makeup of the country, certainly over the last 10 years. And then the fact that, oh my God, they haven't done anything but lose.
That's the problem right there, too. And this is the situation that Troy Dannen has found himself in. It's not an enviable situation. And I think some of the things that he brings up in his comments with Tom Chattel are valid when it comes to he has to be the guy that comes up with, the reseeding and the other ways to try to generate revenue on something that maybe should have been implemented a while ago. Athletic directors before him maybe should have done that. And maybe there's a little bit of the, show me a little mercy here, but also I think there's Troy Dannen trying to manage the relationships and trying to be endearing to the fans as much as you would want to see an athletic director at a place like Nebraska be, but also keeping in mind that there is a financial component that has never been more important than it is on this very day for your team and every team in college football that want to take their program serious and want to compete in big boy prizes in college football, that there needs to be big boy money put behind it. And so how do you do that without alienating the fan base when you've already put them through? First of all, it's a fan base that's been beaten down. So they've been through that on the field with the product and some of the failed experiments when it comes to coaches The Scott Frost thing was just an absolute flop. The Mike Riley thing was a flop. So, I mean, in this fan base, they've been humbled, but I think more than anything, they've been beaten down a little bit. So then you're Troy Dannen and you're trying to say, hey, we as a program, not necessarily you fan A, but we as a program need more money. And I think it's only natural for certain fans to take some offense to that. Be like, why do you need my money?
Right.
I want a product.
Even though he's not specifically asking,
he's not.
Going door to door and saying, Nick Handley, I want your dollars. I want listener Shane's dollars. It's taken that way.
He's not shaking a tin can saying, yes, please put some money in the coffer. But
and that's why his position is so difficult.
Oh, it's difficult. It's delicate. But the truth of the matter of what I got from what Troy Dannen's saying and what you continue to see in the high stakes game of college football now with all the money is the reality when it comes to where you're currently spending and the type of money that you have to pay players compared to the ones that you're trying to chase down.
Mm-hmm.
And so this is why I do get pretty pissed off, quite frankly, when people for the ticket thing of last week that we saw.
Sure.
People say, oh, that's such a gimmick. This is so stupid. This is so dumb. Oh, why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? All right, well, I guess we don't have to do that if you buy tickets at regular price. Are you going to do that? No. Then don't complain about it, because the bottom line is the sellout streak is its own thing. But what the sellout streak would assure you of, if you are physically put it, and I know there's not every seat occupied. A lot of people do not think it's real. That's fine. Still, the majority of that stadium is at capacity. The more seats you put in, that's more money that goes to the university. That's more money that's being spent on not only tickets, but also being spent on concessions. So if you don't feel like you really want to contribute to it, but you're also still laughing at all these different ideas that the athletic department's trying to come up to get butts and seats in certain games, like you can't have it both ways on this.
And it's interesting, Nick, because it's funny to me how this conversation and the sellout streak conversation, and maybe it's just us having our discussion about it right here, but it's funny how easily those two things cross over, and how easy it is to just switch from one topic to the other. And I think the reason is because it comes down to sort of this lack of excitement that surrounds the program right now. And that, again, loops back into that last chicken or the egg quote in the column, right? People are not going to, this is Dan, people are not going to invest if they aren't excited. They aren't going to be excited if you don't win, and we're not going to win if you don't have the money to invest in players.
Right.
And so, when I think about people in my generation and the generation above me and the millennials, because they've never really tasted high-level winning, it's going to be really, really hard, I think, in the years to come to maintain financial success, at least maybe for football, without giving them something to feed on. Because you can still go back to Gen X fans and Boomer fans who remember the winning. What's it going to take to turn that around? Well, I mean, the answer is just finding a way to win, finding a way to pop off the way that Indiana did. I think it might actually only take one season to get those millennial and Gen Z folks back on board or more on board. But that's the big thing.
I want to get back to that because that's the part of this of the you win, you get more money, but in order to win, you got to spend the money, and where Nebraska is on that. I got a couple thoughts I want to get. And of course, your thoughts are welcome on this as well. 531-895-0590. Also, Matt Rhule speaking to the media on Saturday as Nebraska officially wrapped up the camp portion of this fall. We will get some words from the coach as well as we continue. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW. You know, as guys, we're usually the last ones to take care of ourselves. We're busy with work, family, and everything else that life throws at us. But feeling tired, struggling with weight, or not feeling like yourself shouldn't be something you accept. That's why I wanted to tell you about the Men's Health Clinic. They provide personalized men's health solutions, including testosterone optimization, GLP-1 weight loss plans, and peptides for overall wellness. Visit themenshealthclinic.com and schedule your free consultation today. The Men's Health Clinic, helping men feel their best again.
Having trouble sleeping? Stop by 42 Degrees and discover why so many people turn to 42 Degrees for solutions that help them rest, relax, and wake up feeling refreshed. Visit the brand new location at 180th and Q, or stop by any of the 10 convenient 42 Degrees locations serving Omaha and Lincoln. Grand opening savings are happening now, making it the perfect time to stop in. Learn more at 42degrees.com. That's 42degrees.com. 42 Degrees. Still by your mom's house.
Rich Eisen.
Oh, the Red Sox actually lost 2 in a row.
Actually lost the series, yeah. I know.
You know why? We have the answer in our house. Coop got out of camp.
Yeah, go away, Coop. Go back to camp.
He went into camp the night they started their 4-game sweep of the Yankees.
Really? That's
when he went into camp. And so he comes out of camp. They lost 2 in a row.
Good done, Brock.
I'm like, welcome home, Coop. This is great.
Rich Eisen. Every weekday, 11 to 2 on AM 590 WOW.
Nebraska weather keeps you guessing. It's sunny one day and snowing the next. John Henry's knows that kind of weather whiplash can really put your home comfort system to the test. If your furnace is still hanging on and your AC is about to clock in, now's the best time to make sure everything is ready. Make the easy call to John Henry's today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air,
and Electrical.
Storms happen. Power outages happen. The question is, are you ready? AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale want to help you stay powered up no matter what. Enter the Generac Power Play giveaway today at 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect most when the power goes out, and you'll be automatically entered to win a professionally installed Generac whole house generator valued at nearly $15,000. Winner will be drawn September 4th. Enter today at 590WOW.com.
Oh, honey, you look like you could use a break from the day-to-day. And your oasis, your spa-cation, I just made that word up, is at 120th and Pacific. Creative hair design, salon, and spa. With a hair and nail salon on the first floor and an extensive spa on the second. There are so many reasons why they've been chosen Omaha's best since 1993. Check out their webpage and choose a service or two to soothe and recharge your senses. Creative hair design, salon, and spa. They are so looking forward to hearing from you.
We're not living in some perfect TV land, the kind where the sun's always shining and life's what-ifs just don't exist. Here in Nebraska, we live in reality. We have unpredictable weather and risky moments that mean you need insurance protection you can trust. At Battle Creek Insurance Company, we protect you with flexible policies for home, auto, farm, and multi-peril crop insurance. Hometown service for all of life's what-ifs. Contact your local independent agent and ask about Battle Creek Insurance. Better together.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Handley and Hansen on a Monday. Appreciate you making us part of your afternoon. 531-895-0590 is the number to join in on the conversation. Talk a little bit about the financial situation, or at least from the NIL standard. You know, the numbers that were released last week. Some interesting thoughts from Tom Chattel, the Omaha World Herald, and having an interview with Troy Dannen on the matter. So I want to get back to this part of the conversation, and that is, you mentioned the way you put it, Grant, was the chicken and the egg.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say anytime that you're hoping that you can get that influx of excitement that comes with some dollar bills attached to it, you are usually coming off of a great season. Like, obviously, one of the perfect examples of all of this is Indiana.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember when Curt Cignetti took the job at Indiana, and he had mentioned that, yeah, there were going to be some resources put into football, but nothing of the, the top 25 NIL standard, or what would you consider maybe be the top 50 spending programs in all of college football. But what they did is they won. They get themselves into a college football playoff game into the first season under Curt Cignetti. And then the second year, they follow that up with a college football national championship. And what Curt Cignetti showed is that if you continue to invest in this is that blueprint right now to win. So now you look at where Indiana is currently. And again, this is just one metric to use, one publication to use, the NIL standard. You've got Indiana sitting there in the top 10. They are
nationally,
not even in the Big
not
Ten.
even in the, yep.
In fact, Oregon, Ohio State, USC, then Indiana when it comes to the
Nick,
Big
this is
Ten
one of the things, too, where you wish, and I hope that at some point these deals become public. Because at this point, we don't really know how accurate these numbers are.
Right.
How much teams are spending. So, I mean, like when I was thinking, like, okay, what's the example, right? What's the example of win, get more money, win more? And again, Indiana is the first thing that came to mind immediately, right?
And I always hate using
largest alumni base, but still.
A very wealthy alumni base, and they needed something to galvanize them other than basketball. Because, I mean, and think about it. This is the one thing people don't always talk about when it comes to Indiana in football and the influx of money that went into it. Remember, basketball had not been great for a while. That's a basketball school. So a lot of your wealthy alum that have probably been putting money into basketball might have had a little bit of fatigue with that because they were not getting the overall result that they wanted to at a basketball school. Then in comes Curt Cignetti, and then he inspires this fan base of donors, but just Indiana athletic supporters that all of a sudden football is flourishing. We've got this monster. And are you telling me we can not only compete with the teams in the Big Ten, but we can compete with the very best in the nation? Hell yeah, we're going to do that. I always hate using Indiana because between the Curt Cignetti standard of, well, you got to go out and find your next Curt Cignetti, to the way that this all happened so quickly, and then the money just came rolling in.
And you have no idea what they spent to begin with.
Sure,
You have no idea what the baseline is.
Right. But what it does show,
that's why it's a tough comp.
What it does show is if you can have that season of overachievement for a football program like Nebraska, where I think this fan base has been beaten down. I think this fan base wants to see something from the program. And give Matt Rhule some credit. The last 2 years, have they raised that floor? If they have done that, then you're closer to being able to accomplish that ceiling, in my opinion. Maybe people disagree with me on that one. But even with that, the 6 or 7 wins doesn't necessarily inspire people to maybe open up their checkbooks. No. But when you can show the ability to overachieve, that's what Nebraska football fans, it's not that this whole idea of, well, Nebraska fans are delusional. They want national championships every year. No. What they want to see, and you've seen enough examples of this in college football, what they want to see is overachievement. So if you could go into a season like 2023, challenging schedule on paper, and you overachieve, and you get to a number where people are like, damn, I did not see that coming. There's the excitement. There could be potentially your breakthrough that people start to really come on board again financially.
Yeah, and to me, it goes back to what I was saying about an investment standpoint, right? Like, I would never spend my personal dollars, even if I wasn't working in a sports media industry, on NIL for players, ever. Because it's different than even like donating to a university, like school, like a school of journalism or school of engineering or whatever, where you can get your name on a building. Like, it's not something that lasts. That money is there to pay that player 1 year and then they're gone.
Right.
It's extremely high risk and essentially zero return. But beyond that, it's not a good investment because Nebraska hasn't done more with that money.
Mm-hmm.
Nebraska has less money than 8 teams in the Big Ten, roughly, according to this. It's probably about right. And they've done less with that money than maybe you would expect them to do, right? It's only a couple of places down on the ladder, 10th or 11th.
The team in front of Nebraska, by the way, UCLA, I'll admit, and it's not, we're talking not even really a million. Jump, and it depend on how accurate these things are, but seeing UCLA in front of Nebraska, I'll admit, I was like, whoa.
Yeah. And I don't know, it's just a tough time. It's a hard time to be asking people for money.
It is.
It's a really hard time to be doing that. And then you have to do it to support the stadium and other things too, which is, again, why I keep coming back to, like, is there a number that you would actually pay to win 8 wins as a fan? I don't know if there is. Because if you get to 8, you're doing one of two things this year. If you get to 8, you're either beating Iowa for the second time in the last 11 years, or you're beating one of those other ranked teams that are currently ranked right now, Oregon, Indiana, Washington. I still don't think there's a lot of fans that would saddle up for that, even if they knew that was a guarantee. Which is why I think it's, again, just sort of illustrative of how difficult it is. And I don't know if Nebraska will get to a point where you can just feel comfortable asking fans. It's certainly not now. It is certainly not now. It's probably going to be as hard as it's ever going to be unless they win like 4 games this year. And then, of course, it becomes impossible after that. It's just.
I'll admit this. It's sort of a dejecting exercise to do because, as Troy Dannen says, you have to play the game. You've got to play the game of making sure that all of that money towards the budget that used to go towards scholarships is now going to the recruiting and player resources.
Well, and
that is a game you have to play, but it's one of those things where you're at that crossroads of, as a Nebraska fan, we want better days for this football program. That's always what they're saying. And it doesn't necessarily need to even spell we want to be at a national championship. I think it's, again, it comes down to that respectability, being relevant, being in a college football playoff would go a long way. But more than anything, they just want this program on a consistent basis elevated. And yet you're reminded, in order to do that, got to spend more money.
Right.
Got to make more money.
And, it's like I was saying, though, especially when it comes to Troy, like you said, unenviable. I think it's worse than that. I mean, it's a fan base that, again, like doesn't seem to fully grasp. I don't think the fan base fully grasps that everybody's dealing with this. Right. It's like the ticket deal. I said, Nebraska's not in a bubble here. Arkansas, saw this over the weekend. Arkansas baseball is doing a reseed of Baum Walker.
Yep.
You know how that's being received?
Oh, awful.
Poorly.
Absolutely it is.
Nobody likes a reseed.
Nope.
And they have to do it. At least that's how it's being pitched, right? You have to do it to keep up. I get it. I think that's why it would be incredibly valuable to everybody if a lot of these contracts were public. And I understand people that are afraid of players being put in a less the off-field issues, Deshaun Watson-esque situation. We'll talk about him later, where a guy is publicly significantly overpaid at his position for his performance.
Yeah.
And then a college kid essentially getting harassed by fans for that. But the thing is, they kind of like waive some of that. As soon as they become semi-professional, they waive some of that college kid protection from that stuff. Like, if you get paid a lot of money, you have to live up to that performance. We don't know how much anybody's getting paid, and so they're sort of protected from that criticism right now. But I think that would be super valuable to understand where Nebraska's at, and for fans to be able to know who is and is not spending money wisely, not just within the Nebraska bubble and the athletic department in Lincoln, but writ large throughout the Big Ten and the rest of the country.
Well, I'd even go further than this, because this is another comment that I thought Troy Dannen brought up that really perked my ears up, and I thought it was a valid point, because I remember saying this years ago about just facilities in general. But he says about how Nebraska had suites before anyone else had.
Yeah.
And then they kind of sat on things for 25 years and just sort of rested on that because, the money was coming in, everybody seemed to be happy, and they just didn't have much debt. And so that's why they kind of sat on it for 25 years. But it's almost like once they decided to upgrade and everything, so many people had passed them up. And, the fact they didn't have to ask for money or receipts before because that money, that financial component wasn't such a big part of the game. It is now. And that's why Troy Dannen and other athletic directors have to ask for that type of money. And it's, again,
and they're paid. I'm not sorry for him.
Yeah, I would
never take his job.
No.
I'm not sorry for him.
Well, you're damned if you do, you're damned if you don't.
This.
Yeah.
Right. But it is a job I wouldn't be interested in.
Oh yeah. It's unenviable. There are certain battles that you have to pick, and it's just, there's a happy medium that I'm sure every athletic director are trying to find, and I just don't know if you can or not. Coming back, Matt Rhule speaking to the media. We'll give you some of the thoughts that head coach had. Actually, might do that in the 3 o'clock hour.
Let's do that at 3 o'clock.
There is a interesting story that came out earlier involving the San Francisco 49ers president. We're going to tell you about that here on the other side of the break. Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
This is the Husker Sports Daily Report, brought to you by Physicians Mutual. Insurance for all of us.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
This is the Husker Daily Report. Nebraska women's soccer applied pressure throughout the match on Sunday, but they couldn't capitalize as they fall to the 18th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide by a score of 2-0 on Sunday afternoon in a non-conference match at Hibner Stadium. Nebraska outshot Bama 22-5, but they couldn't find the back of the net. Ashley Roney scored both goals for the Tide, recording the first one less than 2 minutes in before adding another one in the 53rd minute. Husker women's soccer will wrap up the 4-game homestand on Thursday night when they host an in-state opponent, the UNO Mavericks. Kickoff will be back at Hibner Stadium Thursday night at 7 p.m. Husker women's soccer will have one more non-conference match after the UNO contest on Sunday, August 30th in the Little Apple, facing the Kansas State Wildcats. That's the Husker Daily Report, presented by Physicians Mutual.
Born and raised right here, Physicians Mutual understands Nebraska values because we live them every day. For 125 years, we've kept our promise to be there when customers like you need it most. When you choose Physicians Mutual, you can rest easy knowing we will help protect what matters most to you with insurance for health, life, and retirement. Built on trust, focused on your future. Visit physiciansmutual.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
Think you know your stuff? You're invited to pit your knowledge against Handley or Hansen in Generational Beef Trivia. Sponsored by the Pit Barbecue Lounge. Every Friday at 4 p.m. If you're a boomer, you get to pick Gen X or Gen Z questions, while the boys will have to answer boomer questions. If you outsmart them, you'll win a $25 gift card to the Pit Barbecue Lounge, just off Highway 370 and 72nd. Generational Beef Trivia with Handley and Hansen. Fridays at 4 p.m. Brought to you by the Pit Barbecue Lounge.
On the upcoming edition of the Great Outdoor Radio Show here on AM 590 WOW, the Big Boomstock Outdoor Concert Event, it takes center stage. We'll be telling you why you should attend it, and we'll have a little music from it as well. It's all about Boomstock with me, Greg Wagner, and my buddy Cam Broham, Saturday morning, 9 to 10 on AM 590 WOW. The Great Outdoor Radio Show is presented by Cubby's Convenience Stores, Daniel's Produce, Host Coffee, and Stoysich House of Sausage.
Looking for Omaha's best tacos, wings, and tequila? Look no further than the Corner Kick Cantina, where tacos and tequila reign supreme. Our unique Midwest Mex experience blends the bold flavors of Mexican cuisine with the warmth of Midwest hospitality. Voted best of Omaha for tacos, it's the perfect spot to enjoy delicious food and catch the game. Whether you're gathering with friends, colleagues, or family, the Corner Kick Cantina has it all. 3 Omaha locations. Online at thecornerkickcantina.com.
Here's your updated Metro weather outlook. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 81. Lows level off around 67. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Right now, it's 77 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, and that's your updated Metro weather on AM 590 WOW. Online at 590WOW.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Welcome you back here, AM 590 WOW. It is Handley and Hansen. I'm Grant Hansen. He is Nick Handley. 531-895-0590 is the number to call today to be a part of the show and weigh in on the financial situation. There's a lot of moving parts right now for Nebraska, as with many other athletic departments throughout the country. One guy who had an interesting financial choice.
Yeah, talking about not spending your money wisely.
Yeah, I certainly not a quality investment, and that would be Mr. Jed York, who is the owner and team president of the San Francisco 49ers, who was arrested in East Palestine, Ohio over the weekend and found guilty after pleading no contest of 2 misdemeanor charges. And those include, oh my gosh, I'm getting additional details on this, by the way. Apparently,
pled down, by the way.
It pled down, but part of this was he was responding to I was like, okay, how did he get caught at all?
Yeah.
Well, he was responding to an undercover law enforcement ad on a prostitution website.
Yep.
Whoa. I did not notice that part. I mean, I didn't think they just stumbled upon him, but still, Document states that York arranged to have activity with a woman in exchange for $140 in a trailer park in East Palestine, Ohio. This is rough for him. And the NFL is going to have to address this, I think, in some degree. Hopefully they don't turn a blind eye to it completely.
They have a statement out. It says we are aware of the matter, which will be reviewed under the personal conduct policy. That was great. Usually the blanket statement, but yeah, this is
Jed's not going to be obviously taking any snaps for the 49ers this year, although if they get injured enough, maybe he will be called upon. But still, it's a black eye.
Well, yeah, but to think that anything significant is going to happen to Jed York from the NFL, pardon me if I don't hold my breath on this, because I mean, somehow Robert Kraft, after that whole the rub and tug situation, that because it was the way that they had got the video, the way that the feds had got the video, and that was a sex trafficking ring, that it was unlawful the way the video was obtained. So that's why he got off of that. Otherwise, and somehow he came out as like a victim. It's like, whoa.
Right.
Nobody's disputing that you did what you did, and nothing ever really happened to
bringing
Robert
the hammer
Kraft.
down on York would obviously come off as very hypocritical in that situation.
I'm
of course,
not condoning. I mean, more than anything, I'm sorry. I don't know what goes into these arrangements, thankfully. But anytime someone says, yeah, why don't we meet over at a trailer park? I'm going to go ahead and say,
I'm just putting it out there. I don't know what goes into these situations normally either.
Yes,
so
I would like to
we're
think
both safe on that.
All three of us. But yeah,
so,
I'm going to go ahead and say, trailer park? No, I think I'm good.
So originally charged with engaging in prostitution, that got pled down to disorderly conduct and possessing criminal tools, which was
a cell phone, I believe.
Demeanor. Yeah, the tools is like, what's a criminal tool?
Yeah.
Would that be a lockpick?
I think it was his cell phone that had the arrangement on it.
It's basically anything that's used in an act of any sort of criminal act. He
$140 is what he was going to spend,
which is
on said trick.
Bad investment. He's going to get hit with the $1,150 in fines too.
Yeah, he lost money on that deal.
So I've seen pictures of his wife. Pictures of the individual he was hoping to meet up with were not publicized, as you would expect.
No.
I can guarantee you, though, he was leaving the drover to go to Burger King. Like, I still can't wrap my head around this decision at all, let alone paying for it, let alone in East Palestine, Ohio. That's where the train stuff went down.
In all seriousness, guys, I got to ask this question. What is more embarrassing? The fact that he got busted for prostitution by an undercover cop, or the fact that he got actually arrested when all this went down at a trailer park?
Or here's the third option, because there's also more details about this. Is it the fact that he was visiting his parents and then he got busted for doing this?
Because you're probably wondering, why is he in Ohio?
Because his immediate family lives 20 minutes outside of Youngstown. If you look up where East Palestine is, it's about 30 miles outside
that's
of
where they
Youngstown.
had the train wreck. Yeah, the train derailment like 3 or 4 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, I was like, I remember that name in the town from somewhere.
So there's
the
other
trailer
factors
park
in
is
this. There's other factors. I mean, there's the family now, like there's the parents involved. Now there's the wife and the kids. Like there are so many layers you haven't to peel back on this. And then the fact that he was willing to spend $140 to go to a trailer park in the middle of nowhere, Ohio.
But could we at least agree at a baseline that there's no real graceful place to engage in prostitution?
No, but there's a walk of shame no matter what. But when that walk of shame is going from a trailer park into a squad car, I feel like that adds a layer. I feel like that adds a little bit of layer of humility.
I'm not going to go seek it out. I can tell you that.
I would think it's amazing to me. These guys that make these $1 million, $1 billion deals that are worth millions and billions of dollars. When it comes to something like this, some type of urge that they can't control, that when the rendezvous point is in a seedy location,
it's where you probably like
that you think everything is still on the level. As much as it can be in the world of prostitution.
My radar is going up a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, we couldn't do like a Super 8 or something. Like we couldn't find like a nice cheap motel.
Yeah, it'd be step up from a trailer park.
Yeah, it'd be step up from the trailer park. At least I'm not walking by kids' toys and littered car parts.
Yeah, apparently he was going to tip her because he did have I didn't mean that as a joke, but he did actually have $160 seized. And apparently the price tag was $140. So I think he was going to throw in an extra twin spot.
He's worth between $100 and $500 million currently. Then his stake in the 49ers itself is a little over $8 billion.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm very curious about this because I've heard a lot of harsh reactions, which again, I'm not condoning the decision, but if the NFL, who essentially gave Robert Kraft a very, very light slap on the wrist, all of a sudden brings down the hammer on York, I would be very curious on how that would go over as well, but that might just be me. All right, hour one of the books, hour two coming up. Matt Rhule speaking to the media on Saturday as fall camp wraps up, getting ready for real practices, game prep later on this week with Nebraska and Ohio. We'll talk all about that. Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590 WOW. Omaha. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. QB1 for the Browns is the man who gives them the best chance to move the ball and score points week one, according to Coach Todd Monken. He determined that's Deshaun Watson. 30-year-old beat out Shedeur Sanders for the starting job in Cleveland. ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears.
You got ownership that's not willing to admit that they made a catastrophic mistake and it's turning their franchise into a joke. You got a young second-year player that you drafted out of Colorado in Shedeur, unwillingness to admit that I made a terrible decision and a terrible mistake. It's over. It's bad. Naming him a starter is not going to change anything about your franchise or organization going forward.
Watson with the $230 million fully guaranteed contract, 9-10, 19 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions with Cleveland. 49ers owner Jed York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges today after being arrested in Ohio on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. Texans acquiring receiver Kayshon Boutte from the Patriots for safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 seventh-round pick. Last week, Houston lost receiver Jaden Higgins for the season with a torn ACL.
Hey, it's Michelle Smallman, and coming up Tuesday, now that the Browns have named Deshaun Watson QB1, we ask Adam Schefter what's next for Cleveland when he joins us at 8 a.m. Eastern. It's on Sportsman, like 6 a.m. Eastern, right here on ESPN Radio, ESPN2, and ESPNU.
Hi, my name is Ty, and I recently was told that I needed to get a new roof by 2 different contractors. I was freaking out considering that my roof wasn't even that old, but I saw a commercial on Roof Max, and I give them a call and have them come out and look at the roof. They came out, they said I was eligible for the Roof Max product that actually rejuvenated the shingles and makes my roof look like it's a brand new roof that was just recently put on. I would recommend Roof Max to anyone.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
Give your family the gift of peace of mind by pre-planning your funeral arrangements today. At Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, their caring staff is dedicated to helping you make your wishes known in advance, easing emotional burdens and reducing uncertainty during a difficult time. With flexible funding options and affordable rates, Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services is here to help you plan with confidence and care. Good Shepherd Funeral and Cremation Services, 2 Omaha locations or online at gsfuneral.com.
When the power goes out, everything changes. Your safety and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
The more you listen to your kids, the closer you'll be. So we asked kids, what do you want your parents to hear?
I feel sometimes that I'm not listened to. I would just want you to listen to me more often and evaluate situations with me and lead me towards success.
We're not adults, so just be there and listen. I just want someone to yap to. And I just feel like I'll be fine if someone just hears me talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk and talk.
You're doing a really good job. And I don't think I tell you that enough. And I know sometimes we get into it and it's just hard on both of us. But try to understand me more and I'll try to do the same.
Listening is a form of love. Find resources to help you support your kids and their emotional well-being at soundidouttogether.org. That's soundidouttogether.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and Pivotal.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
Kim from Jill of All Trades impressed me so much with our office renovation that I had to bring her out to my house. She transformed our backyard with new concrete patio, composite steps, and an amazing pergola. It's rare to find someone you trust with your business and your home, but Kim has earned that trust. She truly is a Jill of All Trades.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. That's 402-905-8144.
Hi, everybody. McGraw-Milhaven here, host of America at Night. When you tune in each and every night, our goal is to find interesting guests talking about interesting topics that are important to you. When you turn to cable, you get a sugar high. But when you turn to America at Night, we give you a full meal of news, sports, talk, conversation, facts, so that you can make an informed decision on the news of the day. That's our goal each and every night. McGraw-Milhaven here, host of America at Night. Come join us.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Hour 2, Handley and Hansen on a Monday. Back to school for everyone.
Yeah.
Not only the elementaries and middle schools and high schools, but college alike here. First day of that fall semester means it's a little bit normal week for Nebraska football as they get kind of into what it's going to look like on a daily basis now once the season gets rolling. And Matt Rhule said that Thursday they will begin their overall preparation for Ohio. So that's exciting. 531-895-0590 if you want to get in on the conversation. Of course, you can also check out the show on the stream, as you can do so by just going to 590WOW.com, or you can look for AM 590WW on YouTube, subscribe, and enjoy the show. And we've got, of course, our regulars in there as well, chiming in. Jimmy, good to see Jimmy in there as well. Shane, Connor, all good stuff there, and all of our friends. I got to say this before we move into some Matt Rhule audio from Saturday. We were talking about that last story with the Jed York.
Yeah.
And I'm in a conversation right now on text, and someone goes, where did they find this? And where did they find the ad on the Thrifty Nickel? For people who remember the Thrifty Nickel in Omaha, it was, oh, yeah, so cool. I don't know if they had those types of ads in there, but I do remember any like record store you go to is like a free little publication. Like if you were selling like a bike or something, it's like, yeah, the Thrifty Nickel. So they brought up Thrifty Nickel, and I just, what a blast in the past. I loved it.
I know nothing of the Thrifty Nickel, being my age.
It was great.
But that's not
okay.
That's not where you put that type of ad, I hope.
No, I doubt it was, but it was a very funny comment. Where did Jed York find us? Because it is a weird part of that story is he was responding to an ad. So when I hear that, now they did say it was a website.
Did he go on Craigslist?
That's what I was thinking at first. When I saw that he responded to an ad, I thought, wait, say what? Like I immediately did think of, was he just thumbing through the...
He was just trying to find hot single moms in his area.
Yeah, he was looking through some type of one ads or something and saw that there was this. And
get me to the Matt Rhule audio.
Decided this would be a really good idea, but that got a laugh out of me hearing about the Thrifty Nickel. So Matt Rhule, some interesting things that he talked about over the weekend. So real quickly, I don't think we even got the audio, and I don't think we need it. Did you guys see how the Anthony Calandria starting quarterback news was breaking all over on Saturday? Not here locally,
right? Nationally,
but as a national story, which I just found to be very funny. And it was funny that Matt Rhule did not definitively say, "Yeah, he's the starter." He said, "Yeah, he'd play for us."
It's true. He would play.
So I'd be like, okay, cool. But it was a really interesting way of announcing it, but not definitive. Like, yeah,
that was enough. That was enough for the national
usually
people.
Someone's going to say, yeah, so-and-so is our starter.
Yeah.
Or yep, after camp, we have
well, I mean,
so-and-so is our
Sammel's
number
breaking
one quarterback.
everybody.
But it was just,
yeah,
he would play for us. Well, that's good.
Like Thamel has just been going on a run of just tweeting out anybody who's been named a starter for any program.
Well, yeah.
All the starting quarterbacks are being declared. Like Aiden Childs, who's going to be the starting quarterback for Northwestern. We found that out 8 minutes ago.
Well, this was very interesting. I would say my biggest takeaway from everything that Matt Rhule said. So he mentions, and we're going to play this audio here, mentions that Babalade, and you're going to hear that, was not available for that scrimmage on Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, let's just play the audio here. This is Matt Rhule talking about Gunnar Gatula, but also Babalade not being available for Saturday.
But I think we're all very, very. I think we all feel like no matter what, at any position, Gunnar's one of the best five for us.
One of the best five.
One of the best five. And so the question was asked about the right tackle position, and then it was before Matt Rhule had a chance to ask. Also, was Tree Babalade available? And he said no, Tree couldn't go. Hopefully, he'll be back this week. But then that clip you heard right there, to me, Grant, and maybe I'm just completely going out on a limb. I don't think I am when I'm saying I think Gunnar Gatula is your starting right tackle.
I think that's what he just said.
I think he
too.
definitively said that.
Yeah, and I'm excited to.
How about that?
I'm interested at 420 to ask Evan Bland that question as well and what he thinks, because Gatula is such a fascinating story because he wasn't available to go during the spring, and how much of that is Gatula, how much of that is the health of Babalade? That's the other question, because we don't really have a whole lot of clear insight into that. I can tell you that Gatula is definitely coming on strong, and And for Babalade, there probably wasn't a worse time to not be available if you want to be the starting guy there. So that's the other thing, though. He's one of their best five guys. Like, he didn't say right tackle, although that's of all the positions you would guess that would be the most vulnerable to Gatula's insertion.
Right.
But he said one of the best five, and especially with the way they were talking about him training at multiple positions, I don't think we'll see Gatula just at right tackle this year.
I know he said one of the best five. Like, could he play left tackle if need be? Could he play guard? Could he play set? Like, when he says he's regardless of Babalade's overall health status, that Gunnar Gatula is part of their best five. The thing that I also wonder is, you remember when, I want to say this was during Big Ten Media Days. It was either, this must have been the 45-minute side session where Matt Rhule talked about how guys are getting passed up if they're injured. And he said, it's nothing against that person who's injured, but that's the depth that we feel we have. It's a great problem to have. I do wonder, because it was also right around then that you did hear a lot of the commentary about Gunnar Gatula, who'd had a really good camp, been coming on very strong, who had a great summer and really had his body right coming off of the injury. Like, it's just a guy that did everything they needed him to do post-injury. And we forget that this was a guy that was a starter too. And it's almost like, as maybe the media narrative, myself included on this, assumed when Tree Babalade came in,
they brought him in to start.
Yeah, you're bringing him in to start, and he's going to be that guy when you still have I guess maybe the question should have been asked, what does a healthy Gunnar Gatula look like when it comes to that type of competition? And I think we just found out. So I don't think this was a situation where all of a sudden Tree Babalade's inability to compete because of an injury maybe kept him from starting. I just think I get the feeling, based on what I've heard and then what we just heard on Saturday, that I think Gunnar Gatula just flat out earned this.
Oh, yeah.
And,
no, 100%.
And I don't think this is a default or anything.
No, I agree with that. I mean, the way they talk about him, last week we spent some time talking about unprompted. Now, obviously, this question was prompted.
And I wonder if this was always the case going into it. I wonder if, like, as Matt Rhule and their coaching staff's hearing like this narrative of, it's good. Oh, your projected depth chart, Babalade's going to be a starting right tackle.
I wasn't there during the spring. Like, that's the thing.
No, I'm talking about it
like going into fall camp.
Yeah, when you go into fall camp, and I wonder if they were just kind of like snickering, like, these guys don't even have Gunnar there. Gunner's going to be right there. I do. I wonder if that was one of those things that we just missed.
Yeah, I mean, at the very least, they've made a very, very strong effort to talk a lot about him positively. So yeah, I'm interested to see. And is it right tackle? I mean, I think everybody now, and like kind of what you're saying, just assumes it's going to be right tackle. Look, I think at the start of the year, that's certainly going to be the case. And how good is he at the other spots? I mean, that's one thing we'll hopefully not have to find out. Hopefully nobody gets hurt. But he had this other bite too, did Rhule, on being on edge. And this was towards the end. But again, like, we talk about things like setting the tone for this year. This is another one of those comments that certainly did that for me.
It's just a different world. Most players want to lead by performance, but I see all kinds of positive signs of guys holding each other accountable, and everything from run off the field, to run to the ball, to dominant contact, to make plays. They're a fiery group. They have a little bit of edge, and we just have to continue to build that edge because that's what we need. We don't need to be told how great we are. We need to be on edge constantly, and I think we have some guys who will do that, and other guys who will listen to that.
Chip, give me a chip. Give me a chip on the shoulder.
Well, or
Give me
how
that chip
about
on
a
the shoulder.
stack of them, a stack of Pringles, a la Mr. Pat Fitzgerald. When you think about guys at Nebraska who've had success, especially recently under Matt Rhule, I think Ty Robinson has to be one of the guys you think of first, one of the first and foremost guys you think of, along with Emmett Johnson. But Ty Robinson definitely had that edge. And I don't know if it was as present last year for any one member of the defense. John Bullock, I think, had an edge to him.
When you say edge, though, are you talking about a
sense of aggressiveness?
Okay, so you're not talking about from like a leadership standpoint. You're talking about just the way that they play.
That too, though. I mean, like if you watch any of the Chasing 3 stuff back from 2 years ago, you see that edge from Ty Robinson, to be sure. I think.
No doubt. But I think Ty Robinson's a great example of what Rhule is just talking about there. For guys that when they speak, they probably get a lot of attention because of the way that they do, as you call it, play with that edge, or just the way that they have that mean streak on the field. Because I'm glad Rhule brought this part of the whole captain and leadership part of it up, is that I always get kind of exhausted when I hear people talk about who are the real vocal leaders right now. Who are the vocal leaders? And I think Matt Rhule,
what does it even mean in this day and age of college football?
Exactly. I think Matt Rhule gave you a glimpse of what's probably more valuable these days in 2026 compared to 2016. Sure, it's great to have a vocal leader here and there, but when you're continuing to hear the same voice, as opposed to guys that are just ass kickers on the field, and then every now and then when they talk, you just naturally respect them, because it doesn't have to be this big rah-rah speech. Like when I always hear like vocal leaders, I think people immediately think of like, who's going to give the big speech when there needs to be a big speech, when in reality, it's exactly what Matt Rhule said. It's who's going to hold guys accountable if they're loafing during gassers or during stairs or during a set in the weight room. Who are the guys that are going to hold other guys accountable? And do those guys have that currency based on the way that they play?
Yep.
That if a Ty Robinson says you're getting that extra rep up, you're like, yes, I am, because you scare me. And you're a stud.
The captain thing is so interesting too, right? Like they did captains before the season last year, which was a difference from years past under Matt Rhule. The single digits side of it, you got to pick the right guys for those roles. And like people kind of, it's not that important. But it's like, no, it's more than just a tradition.
Yeah.
Like you need guys who can carry the mantle of being one of the 10 best players on the team, right? 10 best leaders on the team. That's what you're saying publicly with that. It's different than captainship, I think.
He talks about captains. We'll play it a little bit later on the show. It's kind of interesting as well. Also, his thoughts on a particular member of the coaching staff as well. When we come back, though, speaking of coaches, Matt Rhule not a part of this, but the Yahoo Sports team has their hot seat rankings out. Who is scorching hot? We'll get into that. Also, Deshaun Watson is back. Are you ready for it? Cleveland, are you good with that? We'll get into all that this hour. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kaiser, founder of Kaiser Wealth Management. For nearly 3 decades, Kaiser Wealth Management has been helping navigate important financial decisions with confidence. We take a personal approach and take the time to understand your goals, your concerns, and your vision of the future. Whether you're preparing for retirement or looking to better organize your financial life, discover the difference at Kaiser Wealth Management. Contact us at kaiserwealth.com. We're here in Omaha. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA, SIPC.
When a neighbor is struggling, a simple act of kindness can make all the difference. The Society of St. Vincent de Paul Omaha provides food, hope, and financial assistance. Their food pantry alone serves more than 36,000 visitors annually, and your support helps keep those shelves stocked. please consider donating non-perishable food to the Society's food pantry at 21st and Leavenworth Street on weekday mornings. Learn more about how the Society of St. Vincent de Paul Omaha serves our community at ssvpomaha.org.
When it comes to trash service, don't settle for being treated like just another account number. Choose the hometown team that knows the value of great service. At S2 Refuse and Recycling, you're more than a customer, you're a neighbor. Whether you need commercial or residential trash pickup, yard waste removal, recycling, portable restrooms, or a roll-off dumpster for your next project, S2 is ready to help with dependable, friendly service. Make the hometown choice today. Visit s2rolloffs.com or call S2 Refuse and Recycling, where neighbors take care of neighbors.
Round the Bend Steakhouse in Ashland, Nebraska has been putting meat in your mouth since 1995. Round the Bend proudly supports local family farms by exclusively partnering with certified Angus beef. Our steaks are hand-cut in-house daily and wet-aged 40 days for flavor and tenderness that straight slaps, bro. Translation, it's stupid good. We're smack dab between Lincoln and Omaha, just off I-80 exit 426. Round the Bend Steakhouse, home of the Testicle Festival and beef done right.
It's Gorilla Car Wash. Jeff Ballinger here. #1 with the touchless car washes for how long?
Jack, we're running on 2 decades now, and I don't know a lot of things that have been #1 for 20 consecutive years, but Gorilla Car Wash has.
Let me see. I'm trying to think. I can't come up with anything. The great thing about Gorilla Car Wash, it's convenient, open 24/7.
And we're locally owned, Jack. It's nice to have local people involved, touchless automatics, and guess what? The customers seem to love us 2 decades in a row.
GorillaWash.com.
Have you ever heard of lion's mane mushrooms? It's a mushroom that looks like a brain, and the supplement supports memory that may help with anxiety or depression. Also contains antioxidants and fiber that can support gut and immune health. Capsules of lion's mane are on sale all this month at both no-name nutrition markets.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deer's Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at deersford.com. Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
It's always funny to me, Nick, as this stuff with Mr. York and the 49ers rolls on.
You can call him Jed. It's fine.
Big old Jed. Jed does sound like the type of guy that would find his way into the situation he was in East Palestine. Sorry for our Jed listeners
I know
out there.
some very upstanding Jeds, and they would not like you saying something like that about that name.
But it is crazy, like, the amount of pictures sports figures have of themselves floating around out there, like just looking unhappy. Because you never like post a picture of in this sort of story of Jed York just being like,
whoops,
at a press conference.
Mondays, am I right?
Yeah. But it's like, it is funny. Like there's a bunch of photographers from Getty or whoever else is like, oh, he looks unhappy right now. Let's take a bunch of pictures of him right now in case something like this happens where we have a somber story of Jed York. Like, does everybody have a file out there somewhere of like, this is all their pictures of them looking like somewhat unhappy for when we write an unhappy story?
He does have his mugshot that I feel like everybody can go ahead and just probably post that for the said Jed York stories.
Like
as this continues to develop.
You know the World Herald picture of Coach Satterfield? The World Herald picture from this past open practice where he's like in the rain, like screaming up at the sky and flexing.
Yeah, it kind of looks cool.
That's multi-use.
Yeah, no, that's pretty sweet.
If something, you know, God forbid, again, ever goes wrong for him or bad for him, that would be an interesting photo to use for the story. And if he does something really badass this year, you got to use that picture again. They've already used it quite a bit.
But that's a great Twitter reaction right there. That's a great picture right there. If something's frustrating you or if you feel really emotional about something, boom, Marcus Satterfield, boom, quick caption, boom, bunch of likes.
Yep. Damn you!
Yeah.
Or just kneel before me! Either way, it works. Yeah, either way, it does work.
All right, so Yahoo Sports put out a list of a bunch of basically two sections of tiers. Either true hot seat guys in college football this upcoming season.
You don't want to be on the true hot seat.
Or guys who are on the warm seat. Like Yeah, this could be real interesting for you in the near future in the negative sort of realm. Any surprises to you on this list?
Actually, no, because okay, let me say this.
I have one.
Let me say this. Dave Aranda, I'm surprised is even on a list
at Baylor.
Yes, I mean that's my only takeaway.
So
is that Dave Aranda is still on an actual list and still has a job at Baylor.
What an interesting thought too, right? Because he follows Rhule. He was again somebody that people threw around right around when Scott Frost was fired as a hot candidate to pick.
I was one,
and
part of it is because I thought there was that connection with Mickey Joseph, that he'd keep Mickey Joseph around before all that other stuff happened.
Potential bullet dodged for both.
But yes, but you're right. But I thought he was. I had my own little list that obviously the university could care less about. Dave Aranda was on that list. I really thought he could.
Sure, and Luke Fickell was for people too. He's also on the hot seat. Also, they list their buyouts here, so
which I'm very thankful.
Fickell's
they do that.
buyout is 20 to 22 million. Now, the one, I guess, I don't know if surprise is the right word, but the one guy I would disagree with on the hot seat tier list, that would be Mike Norvell.
Really?
And it's largely because of how expensive his buyout is at Florida State, between $45 and $50 million.
It's not performance-based.
Performance-wise, I would have fired him after he went 2-10 in 2024, but because they loaded up so much money on his contract that he would be so expensive to let go of, I have a hard time saying how Luke Fickell is kept around because of his $20 to $22 million buyout at Wisconsin in 2025. But in 2026, Mike Norvell gets, now we've had a lot of crazy things happen, but still, Mike Norvell gets let go at Florida State for a buyout that is twice as much in the year 2026.
This goes back to what we talked about in the Omaha World Herald article of Tom Chattel and the comments from Troy Dannen, is not only being able to utilize the money, get the donations, and be able to apply those to what really matters on the field, spending wisely. And that was the very eye-opening moment last year that Wisconsin decided to do, was instead of paying a large buyout, they decided to repurpose that type of money into talent acquisition. Now, only time will tell if that pays off. But it's interesting because when you do look at Luke Fickell's buyout, now down to 20 to 22 million, is where I would say, at least right now in 2026 and going beyond, I would say that 25 or less is where it becomes at least a little bit more doable if you need, without question, having to make a change.
And the guys,
it's when you go north of 25, I think a lot of programs are going to be very hesitant because of the amount of money you need to put into the actual roster and into the team.
The guys who should be the most nervous on this group are the guys that are all sub $15 million buyouts.
Agreed.
Like Mike
I was
Locksley
shocked by Bill Belichick
being
buyout.
that low,
Yeah,
10 to 12.
very
Yeah.
low.
And he's done. I have a hard time seeing that team being competitive. Like I am preparing on Saturday.
They've got a crazy schedule
for North Carolina TCU to be awful. I think it's going to be just a complete blowout for the Horned Frogs.
Jet lag's a real thing.
It's gonna be a long year, and you knew. I mean, yeah, and we'll talk later on in the show to Matt Schick about this, and he'll share his thoughts.
It's right in his neck of the woods. Yes,
yeah, neck of the woods. That's exactly what I was gonna say. It's just nightmare fuel, and it's not even close to an upgrade. Warm seat, Lincoln Riley. His buyout is $60 million.
That ain't happening.
I don't think that is going to happen. I don't sense the same level of fervor in the USC fan base, the blood thirst to get a new head coach in that position. Even if they miss the CFP this upcoming year. I don't know if he is upgraded to the hot seat category if they miss with Jaden Mayava. Right. I don't know if the fan base is passionate enough to put enough pressure on the administration to make a change with him. Now, maybe there are some individual donors that are backing the program financially that maybe shape that discussion. But again, $60 million. It's a lot of money.
Yeah, and I also look at it because I've been asking that question to a lot of our college football experts too, of just the overall pressure that Lincoln Riley finds himself. And I think the pressure that he's under this year is probably more of the self-inflicted pressure that he's putting on himself because sure, you're going to hear from a lot of the people around the USC program on how good they should be. But I think that dollar amount right there, $60 million, unless it is a catastrophic disaster of 3 or 4 wins.
Yeah, which they're not going to do. They'll be over that.
Lincoln Riley is going to be back and more than confident because of $60 million.
But I'm saying like the temperature isn't going up next year, even if they miss the CFP. I don't think.
I don't think it will. Now, as that buyout comes down, then I think as the buyout comes down, the wins need to definitely be there. The college football playoff appearances need to be there. The one guy though, and I want to go back to this name just because I mentioned that if you can kind of get south of that $25 million buyout range, then you could be within striking distance if you want to feel like you absolutely feel like you have to make a change.
Yeah.
I don't think that applies for South Carolina and Shane Beamer. I think $22 to $25 million on a buyout. Maybe I'm wrong. I know he's
in the warm list.
I know it's in
the
the SEC. He's on the warm list. I think 3 winning seasons compared to 2 losing seasons in his time there.
I think it would be a bad idea to fire him. That's where I stand.
I kind of do too, but I also think just from the money standpoint, I don't know if you're South Carolina. To me, that'd be a little rich for my blood too.
They put quality players in the NFL pretty consistently, and they're going to do that again. Like they've got a, I think it's an edge rusher for them that's in their contention for
Dylan Stewart. Is the guy that you're thinking about.
I mean, that guy's going to be a top 5 pick potentially. Yep. So, I mean, they have produced some quality players, and it's sort of on a much smaller scale because of less of a winning tradition. But it's like if you go away from Shane Beamer, you just got to be able, much like Penn State, to find somebody that's going to come in after him that's going to do better. And not that you can't, but that might be a bit more of an ask. Like, I'm not ready to do that just yet.
Yeah, well, is it because the coordinator pool also isn't that great in this coming offseason? So when you look at a guy like Lincoln Riley, I think a lot of his pressure is more national media, thinking of the brand of USC and thinking about the stature of USC as a program. With South Carolina, a lot of it feels like, again, what you're talking about, Nick, I thought you brought up a great point with the relative resources compared to where South Carolina's money pool is. Are they going to be willing to pay a $25 million figure and then turn around and pay out a coordinator's buyout? And is there a hot coordinator on the market this offseason that you look at and say, yes, this would be a great fit for South Carolina. This is a great pull. I don't know that name or that option exists in this cycle. Maybe last cycle they could have jumped in, but even then, the buyout was about $10 million more richer. So do you want to swallow $35 million and then go pay another albatross of a contract when South Carolina isn't made of money and isn't walking around with that? But they have put out good talent in the NFL, like Grant's saying.
Now, the last name on this list,
I was just going to ask you guys
about this. Is a guy who's also hovering around $25 million. Is Deion Sanders buyout $26 to $28 million at Colorado. 3-9 a year ago. You had the 9-win season 2 years ago, 4 wins before that. New AD in the building. And then again, this is like because they've become so much of a much more minor story. This aspect that we spent a lot of time talking about in 23 and 24 has not been discussed as much in that they're flipping the roster again.
Yeah, 50 new players.
50 new players a part of this roster. They've not been able to retain people. So you're either running guys out of the building or poorly evaluating talent to begin with some of the guys that you bring in. I don't think he'll ever actually be fired, Nick. I think they will go with the retirement route for him first. I think he will medically retire before he would get fired from Colorado. I don't think he would allow himself to get fired from Colorado, or he'll resign in order to fix any of his medical issues. I don't think he'll allow himself to be fired.
I think there's that part of it. I think that seat is never going to elevate to what it is as a warm seat. One, because of, even for Colorado, I still think that is a hefty buyout at $26 to $28 million. There's still, at least, even if the Deion effect can grab a couple of extra season tickets to be renewed or additional to the pot, then it's worth it at least for the following year. I think that's probably the likely exit for Deion Sanders if it doesn't work this year, or should he stick around for next year. I think it's him. I hate saying this because he's got legitimate health issues, especially with that foot.
Yep.
So I don't want to make it sound like it's a cop-out, but I think it makes it less awkward for Colorado to have to fire somebody that they put so much into and really bought into the Coach Prime brand and everything about that, to essentially say, yep, sorry, we were wrong. That's not easy, even for a new athletic director to do that. That's not easy. But I also think there's that competitor of Deion Sanders that knows, maybe this isn't the best path for me right now. Maybe the pro game is, or maybe just being Deion Sanders as a commentator is the best thing for me right now. I just think that seat is never going to get more than warm, because I'm with you. I think he absolutely makes that call on his own before anybody has to really force him out.
Well, but there is also that other token with Deion Sanders where, yes, you could look at the 9-win season. There is some real luster there. And yes, his name, the name power, the brand power of Deion Sanders and the primetime brand, that does put butts in seats. When you look at the structure behind the Colorado program, though, has Deion ever really put together a solid recruiting pipeline from the high school ranks? He's basically went and grabbed the biggest mercenaries for hire that he can, paid them a boatload of money, and tried to scrap together rosters year over year. There's not really been a 5-year continuity plan at Colorado where you could say, yes, this is our pipeline of development. These are the states that we're going to go pluck from. This is the primetime talent that we're going to bring in, develop, and then push into our starting lineup. Really, it's been grab a couple of marquee players from high school, and then, hey, those players might transfer out in the case of Jordan Seaton, or for Julian Lewis, they come and they play, but there's no real structure to help them grow and develop and showcase their talents to push them to the NFL level. It just feels like ever since Deion's boys left and Travis Hunter, there has been no real structure. So I know they don't want to pay that big buyout of $26-28 million, but there is the factors in place. If Colorado has another disappointing season without a bowl game, that you could have cause to potentially part ways with Deion.
Well, and I would add this to your point about there's never really been that continuity. I don't know if there's really been a post Shador, post Travis Hunter, even Shiloh, post that core group that he brought in. There's never really been a plan, let alone continuity. I honestly don't know.
That's why they're bringing in 50 new players every year.
Because Deion has never been one of those guys who wants to really hit the high schools hard. He wants to build his roster through the transfer portal. He wants the college football experience. And look, that can work if you are consistently do that, but you have a formula for the guys you're looking for. I feel like it's just they're just trying to kind of throw everything at the wall and hope something sticks when it comes to that roster turnover. There's just at least to my eyes, there's never really been a plan. And I just don't think that – I think that's going to be his undoing, unfortunately.
Don't disagree.
All right, when we return, we're going to get into another familiar name, a name that, boy, he was an elite quarterback, and he's back in the NFL, and he's already making apologies. Deshaun Watson. I'll tell you more about that. Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
It's an indictment on everybody that has fingerprints on the decision to draft J.J. McCarthy. Everybody that had a voice in that room that picked J.J. over Bo Nix is on the hot seat right now as far as I'm concerned. The only question is, how much of a hand did head coach Kevin O'Connell have in all of it?
Unsportsmanlike with Evan, Canty, and Michelle. Every weekday morning, AM 590 WOW.
Dingman's Collision Center is now open in Gretna. You never plan for an accident, but you can know exactly where to go when one happens. We bring 3 decades of family-owned experience and trusted collision repair to your community. We're committed to quality workmanship, honest service, and getting you safely back on the road. Dingman's Collision Center. We'd rather be the best than apologize for anything less. Voted Best of Omaha 21 years in a row. Now proudly serving Gretna. Join AM 590 WOW for the Cruisin' for a Cure car show to benefit the Nebraska Prostate Cancer Alliance. The show will be held Sunday, September 20th at Centris Federal Credit Union, 132nd and Pacific. Registrations from 10 to noon, and the show's from noon to 3. Sponsored by In-Phase Car Audio, Methodist, IV, H&H Automotive, Insurance Advisors, Neff Towing, Nebraska Cancer Specialists, NFM, and AM 590 WOW. We'll see you at the Cruisin' for a Cure car show September 20th at Centris.
It's groovy, it's far out, and most of all, it's a gas. Boomstock 2026. This Saturday at Gene Leahy Mall in downtown Omaha. Presented by Mutual of Omaha. Enjoy a full day of classic 60s and 70s vibes with live music, food trucks, a full bar. Sponsored by First Round. General admission is free. And now you can take the Orbit bus from Westroads Mall to downtown. More info at boomstock.org. Celebrating 5 years of peace, love, music, and community. Boomstock 2026.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
And just a reminder, we've got not only Sports Nightly following us, but coming up on Thursday when we get off the air, we will take you right over to Husker volleyball pregame coverage as the 26th season gets underway in Nebraska. The Spikes under the lights out in Arlington, Texas. Will be playing Florida. Then they're back on the air right here on AM 590 WOW Saturday as Nebraska will take on UNLV. That will be at 6 o'clock with the first serve at 7. And then on Sunday, Nebraska taking on Texas, who lost this weekend, by the way.
They did. It was such a wild weekend for volleyball. Like a lot of ups and downs. Roller coaster ABCA first serve showcase.
Sunday's matchup against Texas will be at 1:30 pregame, first serve at 2:30. I know we said we wouldn't talk about this real quickly, but I got to ask this question for bowl projections. They're always fun to look at and see what other college football national writers think about your team or certain teams you might be interested in. Of course, we always look and see, well, do they at least have Nebraska in a bowl game? And every one that I've seen does have Nebraska in a bowl game. But I want to ask this question. Do we think Brett McMurphy is trolling Nebraska or Central Florida and Scott Frost? Because he's got Nebraska and Central Florida in the Cactus Bowl in Arizona, of all places.
That'd be fun.
Where Scott
could go play some golf.
Yeah, Scott left after his time was done here.
That would be very funny.
Went out there to Scottsdale.
I
feel like that was a troll. That's
I know
me.
It is.
That's me.
There's a part of me that would really enjoy that, though. There's a very large part of me that
are
would enjoy that.
both sides ready for this?
No.
Like if it happened?
Well, I mean, I don't think the UCF fans care.
No, not really.
I mean, the other side would, I guess, be Scott Frost, and the answer would be no, he isn't. But the fan base, Nebraska fans certainly are not.
But
I guarantee you that.
What about the bars in Arizona? Are they ready for when Nebraska and UCF fans eventually meet up at their establishment of choice and decide to down a couple of beverages?
Well, the good news is we have a lot of snowbirds that make their way out to Arizona in January, so they might just get an early jump.
It would be a pretty large Nebraska contingent.
Yeah, just get an early jump. Like, all right, well, we're gonna get that house a month early and do it that way. So, as Jeff says, Scott would have himself a few margaritas while there, I'm sure.
True.
That one never gets old.
Let's play this Deshaun Watson audio. Speaking of guys who make questionable decisions, like this one after the preseason game.
Allegedly.
Well, no, this is a very real public questionable decision.
Oh, yeah, this is. But yeah.
Right here, what he said, and has since today apologized for after being awarded the starting quarterback job for the Cleveland Browns.
Man, I didn't have no reaction. I think the biggest thing is I think you guys know too, and I think the whole world knows. It has nothing to do about the performance. It's a little bit personal than that. So I think that's it's a disrespectful thing. So yeah, I mean, I'm gonna keep whatever I feel with me and my family internally on how I feel about that. And yeah, just move on.
But don't you think, Deshaun, that winning and playing better would eliminate some of that booing?
Last time I played on this field, I tore my Achilles. And that same fan base, they cheered when I got hurt. So does that have to do with, what does that have to do with anything about performance? When a person get hurt, especially for your own city, and they cheer.
So on the surface of what he's saying, if that's any other NFL player, what he said about tearing his Achilles on the field and fans cheering and the booing, it being personal, I would probably understand what that player is saying. But I'm sorry, it's Deshaun Watson.
It'd be a strike against that player. But let me throw this at you, Nick. Think of the worst employee you've ever had to work with or be around.
Okay.
Which box does Deshaun Watson not check? Is Deshaun Watson not the worst employee? Maybe in the history of capitalism, but certainly in the United States and certainly in the NFL, because he is egregiously overpaid.
Mm-hmm.
Well, okay, he's egregiously overpaid, but at least he doesn't perform well at all. He's poorly performer, horrible performer. Well, at least he's not a nice guy.
So
not a nice guy.
You're looking for the redeeming qualities.
Well, at least he respects the doesn't respect the customer either. In fact, he just attacked the customer on Saturday. Well, at least he hasn't gotten himself into any sort of issues off the. Oh, nope, just kidding. He's got himself in plenty of issues off the field. Well, at least he's been available. No, not available either, because he's been hurt a bunch. There is not a single positive box that you can check with him.
There is one guy, and this might be, I think enough time has passed where people have already kind of made peace with what happened and the aftermath of it. But if there's one guy that I would love to see, basically get a second chance at this and continue to earn a lot of money to play very mediocre football, because that's what Deshaun Watson is doing right now. He's not playing good football. He's not the same type of quarterback that when they guaranteed him that money in the middle of all of those lawsuits, I mean, he's a shell of them. Just keep your mouth shut, man. When it comes to this, look, I'm sure
that was the last thing he had left, Nick.
Right. I'm sure it does piss you off, but can you blame people? And yeah, getting cheered when you tear your Achilles. Okay. I'm sure that pisses you off, but you also got to remember the currency that you currently have.
None.
And if there was one guy that I thought did what he had to do, given a second opportunity, as good as you could ever do it under egregious circumstances, like horrific things that you could possibly do to an animal, in Michael Vick. When Vick came back, and I know Tony Dungy had a lot to do with this. I know there were other people that were in his corner that really did a hell of a job of just keep your eye on the prize.
Mm-hmm.
Do what you have to do to get forgiveness, but more than anything, people are going to say some things and do some things at you that are going to be extremely personal. You cannot react to those, whether it's in a press conference, whether it's on the field. You cannot react to those. And I got to be honest, I will forever hate what Michael Vick did to those dogs, but I will respect the person that Michael Vick came out of that. When we think of rehabilitating,
right. He has a place in society.
Yeah.
He's on TV.
And he's now trying to give back, and he's doing things that he had. And I'm not saying Deshaun Watson do more than just be quiet, but at the very least, when you say crap like that, people are going to immediately throw back at you why they feel the way they do against you. You're damn right it's personal.
Yeah. And so, of course, what do the Browns do? They turn around and give him the starting quarterback job on Monday.
Right.
Now, I get that in some degree. I don't think it has to do with the money. I mean, they've been without him. They've been paying him not to play for a while. I mean, I think some of it does have to do with giving Shedeur some level of runway. I don't think anyone who thinks that Deshaun is going to start the entire year for the Browns and we won't ever see Shedeur Sanders if he's healthy,
this is not going to be. It's not going to be a week-to-week thing. This is going to be the path going forward until you know.
By the way, if there's a one-and-done head coach in the NFL right now, it has to be Todd Monken, because you know he wasn't their first choice,
right?
And you know what they're going to do? They're going to find a way to cut bait with him as quickly as possible and try to get the best quarterback on the market. Or sorry, head coach, rather, available on the market. Now, the problem is the quarterback, because they're still very much behind the 8 ball in that category, and they will be for a long time, which they just have to deal with the ramifications of the poor decision they made.
There's some other NFL takeaways from the preseason, including some former Huskers in the NFL. We'll take a look at some of those moments over the weekend. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we got Evan Bland. And don't forget, our cold, hard truths are also coming up in the 4 o'clock hour. All ahead. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
The Focus on the Family store brings a new level of trust to online shopping by giving you a focused look at Christian resources. Our digital exclusives, first releases, and best-selling family resources are carefully selected, ensuring that everything in our store is theologically sound. We're 100% invested in family ministry, and so is your online purchase. When you shop with us, marriages, parents, and families thrive. You can learn more at focusonthefamily.com/store.
Rich Eisen. Running backs should be paid the level of wide receivers in the National Football League because of what these guys do. And when they have the opportunity to get paid in their mid-20s because they're so damn good already, knowing that at age 30 is when returns begin to diminish, unless you're somebody named Derrick Henry, or as Christian McCaffrey's going to try to prove for the 49ers this year.
Rich Eisen, every weekday, 11 to 2 on AM 590 WOW. Think you know your stuff? You're invited to pit your knowledge against Handley or Hansen in Generational Beef Trivia, sponsored by the Pit Barbecue Lounge, every Friday at 4 p.m. If you're a boomer, you get to pick Gen X or Gen Z questions, while the boys will have to answer boomer questions. If you outsmart them, you'll win a $25 gift card to the Pit Barbecue Lounge, just off Highway 370 and 72nd. Generational Beef Trivia with Handley and Hansen, Fridays at 4 p.m. Brought to you by the Pit Barbecue Lounge.
Storms happen. Power outages happen. The question is, are you ready? AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale want to help you stay powered up no matter what. Enter the Generac Power Play giveaway today at 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect most when the power goes out, and you'll be automatically entered to win a professionally installed Generac whole house generator valued at nearly $15,000. Winner will be drawn September 4th. Enter today at 590WOW.com.
At Harvest Auto Family, we believe buying a vehicle should be simple, transparent, and enjoyable. That's why we offer an extensive inventory with something for every driver. We're Nebraska's pre-owned car, truck, and electric vehicle experts, providing quality vehicles, fair pricing, and friendly service you can count on. It's no surprise drivers across the United States trust Harvest Auto Family. The next time you're headed to Lincoln for the game or taking the family on a road trip, stop by Harvest Auto Family at the Roundabout in Wahoo. Visit us online at driveharvest.com.
Behind every successful move is someone who's listening, guiding, and looking out for the details. That's the advantage of working with the Nebraska Eastern Real Estate team with Better Homes and Garden Real Estate, Don Peterson and Associates. Blair Horner, Steve Stager, and James Liepert are ready to provide you with trusted advice, exceptional service, and a shared commitment to helping you make your next move with confidence. Connect with us today at donpeterson.com or call us at 402-936-6140.
Here's your updated Metro weather outlook. A blend of clouds and sun this afternoon with daytime highs approaching 81. Lows level off around 67. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Right now, it's 78 degrees. I'm meteorologist Jennifer Wojcicki, and that's your updated Metro weather on AM 590 WOW. Online at 590WOW.com.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Don't forget, folks, to call in and join us for Generational Beef Trivia, sponsored by the Pit Barbecue Lounge. It is Friday. It is at 4 o'clock, and you'll get the chance to test your knowledge against us and a chance to win a $25 gift card to the Pit Barbecue Lounge just off Highway 370 and 72nd Street. And if last week proved anything, Nick, there's plenty of gift cards to be won. And I'm looking to redeem myself. Maybe to deny a few of you out there a chance at getting a gift card to the Pit Barbecue Lounge after last week.
We were kind of lumped into that embarrassing showing on Friday, but I at least was able to answer one of your questions. The Bill Buckner, man, I got to say that one disappointed me, Grant. I know you're a younger guy. That one, I know you're beating yourself up more about the Robert Plant question.
Yeah.
But,
it was too bad.
Yeah, the Bill Buckner one. We got to be better than that.
To the NFL we go, and we just spent a healthy amount of time talking about Deshaun Watson, and that's got some bad vibes to it, but there were some good vibes performances from several former Huskers in the preseason this past week. And honestly, there's two top choices to pick from. I have to go with Ty Robinson with the Eagles and his 2 sacks and 3 tackles for a loss in that 24-21 loss to New England the other day. I really liked the burst that he was able to show rushing the passer, and it was refreshing to see him again doing what he did, especially in his final season at Nebraska, getting after the quarterback and kind of reminding me of like, oh yeah, this guy could potentially carve out a real role for himself. When I talk about that edge and the aggressiveness, like those highlight plays for him, you saw that there, and he's an intimidating guy.
Well, and doesn't he look more fluid? Like he's still got the size.
I agree,
that
100%.
you remember, but he looks a little bit more fluid, where it's maybe some more lean muscle on him on top of what is a pretty imposing looking figure. And I just the way that initial burst that he has, and you're describing there, when you watch him, like gosh, he looks like a tad more slender, more lean Ty Robinson, which I think is going to serve him really well.
Yeah, excited to see what the future holds for him with the Eagles. And then, of course, Emmett Johnson got his first NFL preseason touchdown with the Chiefs in a loss to the Buccaneers that featured a host of former Huskers that all took a picture with each other afterwards
cool
on the field, which was another highlight from the weekend.
Yeah, first of all, just seeing Nash wearing 64 and as an O lineman as well. But I mean, the Tampa Bay Huskers, with all the guys representing, but also seeing Emmett Johnson be able to get that first touchdown in front of some former teammates as well. That's a cool moment, and that's something that has got to have its place somewhere in the facility at Nebraska right now too.
Yeah.
Just seeing those guys all donning an NFL uniform, all taking pictures together, like that's a cool moment, I think, for both the program and for all those individuals.
One of those guys, Deshaun Singleton, led the Chiefs with 8 tackles, and then you've got John Bullock, 4 tackles, 1 for a loss for the Bucs. Javen Wright added 3 tackles for the Buccaneers as well. So those guys all contributed. In the Giants-Dolphins game, Thomas Fidone had 4 catches for 29 yards. Cam Taylor-Britt making some tackles for the Colts. Again, he's on the Colts, not the Bengals anymore. And then you had that
that Thomas Fidone performance right there sound like very familiar.
It does sound very familiar. About 3 catches, 25 yards.
Sounds very familiar.
It's true. And then Amir. How about Amir with that highlight run that made its way out there on Twitter for the Jacksonville Jaguars? He still got it. I can't. Is this year 12? Is he going into year 12?
Yeah. I think it is. Because his last year would have been 14, correct?
Yes. It's crazy.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, this is his 12th professional season.
There you go.
I knew I didn't really think of a world in which Amir would play 12 years in the NFL and not rack up the type of numbers that he did at Nebraska. But he's had a 12-year, very, very successful NFL career, contributing in a number of different ways. It's just not been the same way as he did it as the workhorse number 1 back for the Huskers.
Yeah, and I think that's, you look at who he was behind, even when he got over to Detroit, and, some of the guys that he was, especially like a guy like Theo Riddick, and I always remember just being able to utilize him the way that they did was always exciting because you could see that burst, but he just kind of had more of a role than he was just never really a mainstay anywhere. And I think that was always, it's almost kind of the equivalent to a running back is what you see with a backup quarterback, where you're not necessarily ever going to be the feature or the showcase running back, whether it's because of size or just the guys that you have in front of you. But everyone always identified something with Amir Abdullah, with his ability to get out in space and make plays, both as a ball carrier and being able to catch the ball out of the backfield too.
The cut he made on that video looks just like it did 12 years ago.
Yep.
Like,
like
it's wild.
Yeah.
And then lastly, Adrian Martinez for the 49ers did have a rushing touchdown, but not as good of a day as a passer.
Yeah.
8 of 17, 57 yards, 2 picks, and a 41-17 rout of the Chargers. I think we might put the backup quarterback talk on hold.
Yeah, I know. And I'm kind of disappointed by that. But again, when I just look at the physical attributes from Adrian and just seeing he's always had a good arm. He's always had a strong arm. And, during the UFL, he got a chance to showcase that a little bit and really parlay what he did there, especially at the end of the year, to getting at least some camp invites and having a chance to play in some preseason games that you're hoping, okay, maybe he can really gravitate that, just because an exceptional athlete that can do both things very well. But yeah, sometimes there is that decision making. A lot of the quicker DBs too, just the eyes and everything like that. Those are all those little things that, even in college, sometimes Adrian did struggle with a little bit too.
Yeah. A couple last notes. Ben Stilley, Ashland Greenwood product, had a tackle for Detroit in their loss. And then Isaiah Nayor.
Yep.
Caught a pass from Kyle McCord for the Packers. A couple of them. So strange. One former Husker, one almost former Husker.
2 hours in the book. Coming up in the 4 o'clock hour, we're going to get into Nebraska's over-under. Safe bet, sucker bet. We'll talk. Evan Bland, Omaha World Herald, and our cold, hard truths. All coming up.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590. WOW. Omaha. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. The winner of the Browns quarterback competition is Deshaun Watson. The man with the $230 million guaranteed contract beat out Shedeur Sanders to be Cleveland's QB1. Decision announced 2 days after Watson called out fans for booing him during Saturday's preseason game when he went 5 for 12 for 35 yards, 1 interception over 4 second-half drives. ESPN NFL analyst Dan Orlovsky.
I'm shocked. If this was just a football decision, just football, and I haven't seen every day at practice, I would probably say coin flip, 50-50. Start the guy you want. It doesn't really matter to me. After Saturday's press conference, I'm shocked that they did this to the Cleveland fans. I've said if I was a Cleveland fan and Deshaun's still starting week 3, I would not go to the game.
Dan Orlovsky on the Pat McAfee Show. 49ers owner Jed York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges today after being arrested in Ohio on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. Texans acquired receiver Kayshon Boutte from the Patriots for safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 7th-round pick. Last week, Houston lost receiver Jaden Higgins for the season with a torn ACL.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Omaha couples have discovered a unique experience awaiting them at Creative Hair Design. Your session starts with an aromatherapy steam and shower, followed by a full body massage, leaving you both relaxed and rejuvenated. Or experience our brand new Himalayan Salt Room, the first of its kind in Omaha. Come see what's possible at Creative Hair Design Salon and Spa, 120th and Pacific, online at creativehairdesign.com.
Heartland Honors 9/11 is an initiative that unites the Omaha Metro in recognition of the 25th anniversary of September 11th. The Heartland Honors team is distributing free yard signs, which remind the community to remember 9/11 and to honor the spirit of community, service, and appreciation for first responders. To pick up a sign or to get more information, just go to heartlandhonors9-11.com. That's heartlandhonors9-11.com. Thank you for your support.
As Americans, we celebrate all the things that make us different. So what is the thing that connects us? The thing that makes us Americans? It's simple. It's our shared belief that we are Americans. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect union, establish justice, ensure domestic tranquility, provide for the common defense, promote the general welfare, and secure the blessings of liberty to ourselves and our posterity. Do ordain and establish this Constitution for the United States of America. That belief that we each can be who we are and live the life we dream, in harmony with one another, in our system, written in the words of the Constitution. Know your Constitution. It's who you are. It's who we are.
Unity. It's an American thing. From AmericanThing.org.
If you don't know Jack, call Jill of All Trades, voted Best of Omaha 3 years in a row.
My name is Christy. They painted our whole house and they did some soffit work for us. I would highly recommend Kim. She is fantastic. She has a great eye for detail. Her crew was wonderful. Everything was clean when they left, and it was fantastic.
Call Kim at Jill of All Trades today, 402-905-8144. That's 402-905-8144.
My wife and I were watching television one evening, and we saw an ad come on, and it was for Roof Max. So after I had 4 or 5 people out, he came out, and sure enough, it turned out to be a great process, especially being able to replace some of the shingles that came off. I'd be happy to give a recommendation. You guys do such an outstanding job, and I've watched you all the way through the process, and I just have nothing but praise for how careful and neat and really exacting crew was and what they did.
Learn more at roofrevivenebraska.com or call 402-679-5741.
When the power goes out, everything changes. Your comfort, safety, and peace of mind suddenly matter more than ever. That's why homeowners across the Midwest trust Generators for Sale. From expert guidance to professional installation, their team makes backup power simple. So when severe weather hits, life keeps moving without interruption. Generators for Sale. Power your home. Protect what matters most. Learn more at homegeneratorsforsale.com.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
4 o'clock hour here on a Monday. Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW. I'm Nick Handley alongside Grant Hansen.
Hello.
Justice Rhody is our producer. Coming up tonight on Sports Night, we just saw the guest list, and it is one of, I think, significant 6 to 7 athletic director show. Troy Dannen will be on with the team of Huskers Radio Network and Kyle Crooks and Jessica Cootie. That is coming up at 6 o'clock tonight. If you want to join in on the conversation, always welcome, because we're here for you. 531-895-0590. As we will be talking to Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald here in about 15 minutes. Also gave you our cold, hard truths. I might have a golf one, by the way.
Oh,
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
A golf one as we
I'm doing my
potentially
first,
say farewell to a professional league that
RIP.
Yeah.
No?
We'll see.
Maybe.
It's close. But as we also start to look for September 5th, Nebraska taking on Ohio. Game 1 of 12. Vegas has Nebraska's win total, as most of you know by now, at 6.5. And I can't remember who we were talking to last week. They said that was about as genius as you could possibly be in setting that win total right at 6.5.
So Brandon Vogel from Counter Read, who we were hoping to get it to fill in for Lauren today, just didn't quite work out.
Yes,
at
Lauren
some point
had
will join us.
Lauren had something come up. If you were looking at her guests, it's like, where's Lauren Michelson? She had something come up. She's going to join us next week, so all is good there.
But he had a good story earlier in this month, just sort of talking about win totals and where things lay out. So over the last 5 years, according to his research, 60% of power conference teams have finished within 1.5 wins, either plus or minus, of the preseason win total set by odds makers.
Mm-hmm.
So they're pretty good at this, as we know.
Yeah.
Strangely good at this.
I remember when that number was set earlier
at 5.5.
Yes, and everybody
The
was
initial
like,
number.
Yeah, there was like, oh, okay, well, I feel like the over would hit 6.5. All of a sudden, people are like, you got to be kidding me.
Yeah, it went up to 6.5
You've gotta
almost
be kidding me.
immediately, which makes sense because I think you can look at this and get to 6 pretty easily. I think there's some people that can look at this and get to 7 pretty easily, but it's certainly not as easily as 6. And sort of the question is, because Nebraska has gone under on its season win total for now 10 years, dating back to 2016. Is it a sucker's bet? Is it a crazy bet to bet Nebraska over here in 2026?
And that's the big question that I think everybody looks at of those. We were talking about this earlier of what was the major takeaway that you can get out of those first 3 games. And we were talking about things on the field that can make you feel one way or the other about the team. Well, to this exercise here, the 3 takeaways you need are 3 wins. It doesn't matter because, I mean,
Yes.
if you're going to hit that over, those first 5 games in Nebraska having a chance to have their best win total under Matt Rhule, those first 5 games are imperative.
Well, let me say this. If they lose any of those first 3, Bowling Green, North Dakota, and of course Ohio, that's unacceptable.
If they lose even one, yeah.
Any of those first 3.
Of course.
Right? I will have a hard time living with 4-1 if they are 4-1 going into the Indiana game.
Yeah,
I think
the Michigan State game on the road, it will present a unique challenge.
But that's a game they should win at this point.
I have, and I've said it that I would rather have a Pat Fitzgerald team now with Michigan State earlier in the year as opposed to later in the schedule, just given his history and what he's been able to do. But I still think that will be a team that will be prepared. I just don't know what their overall talent collectively looks like compared to Nebraska.
If they lose one of those first 2 Big Ten games, I could have maybe 20 to 30% sense of optimism throughout the rest of the year.
Mm-hmm.
If they go 4-1 into Indiana. If they lose one of those first 3 games, it's over.
Now, the good news is the odds of Nebraska going 5-0 are in Nebraska's favor. They're going to be
favored in all
of those games. So if you're playing the odds there, if they get to 5-0, I think you're nailing the over. But if they get to 5-0, could you take that major step forward and finally get to what I think this season, that ceiling of 8?
And if we're talking about like this big curve, right? So most of the teams fall in that 60% range. So they're 1.5 wins within the preseason Vegas total. 17.3% of teams over the last 5 years have found a way to go 2.5 wins above, which would be obviously a huge coup for Nebraska. 17.6% have finished 2.5 below, which is the nightmare scenario, to be sure, for Nebraska. A world in which Nebraska wins 4 games it's going to be a long season. And then we continue some of these interest and excitement conversations that we've been having over the last month into the next 9, which is not a world that I don't think anybody really wants to live with. So you kind of have this idea, right? Like, okay, let's say you flip a coin, Nick, and you flip a coin and it comes up heads 9 times in a row.
Mm-hmm.
You would be, in theory, more inclined to pick tails, even though it's still the exact same odds that it would be heads.
Right? Play the percentages.
I kind of feel, even though that, in theory, it's not a 50-50 shot that the Nebraska goes over, but I kind of feel some of the same ways when it comes to if you were to decide to bet Nebraska over 6.5 wins this year. Because it's a situation where it's like, at some point, they're going to go over. They've been under for 9 straight years. At some point, they're going to go over.
Mm-hmm.
Might as well make the bet now. That's why I don't really think it's a sucker's bet, because I think you can get decent value on it. I don't know how likely it is to happen. We'll save our season predictions for next week. But that's where I come down on the side of this thing. It's like, I don't think it's a sucker's bet to bet over. It might be harder, given that they've been under for this many years, to bet that they would be under for a 10th straight year. I wonder how much money you would make if you have been for 10 years betting on Nebraska going under on its win total. That would stack pretty quickly.
This is where the part about Nebraska football, again, this surpasses Matt Rhule. This is Scott Frost. This is Mike Riley. There was an extent of this with Bo Pelini. How this program handles success, how this program handles winning streaks, and what they can do to eventually reach that over number. And I think a lot of that is going to come down to, like we're talking about, if you can go 5-0 in those first 5 games, obviously that's great, and that puts you right there on the doorstep to hit that over, and it's going to happen. I think if you're at 5-0, I think it does happen. In fact, I would be absolutely floored if they didn't get to 7, if they get off to a 5-0 start.
Right.
But get to that 5-0 start. That's the thing. Let's assume that Nebraska, look, I'm not taking anything for granted. I've seen enough of Nebraska football over the last decade to know that you just don't overlook any team anymore. Nebraska doesn't have that luxury like they did once before. You can't. But if they get to 3-0 and you get to Michigan State, I think regardless of what Michigan State looks like as a team, that is going to be the first true test of how Nebraska deals with the success. Because not only is it your first conference game, but you're going on the road and you're going up against a team who's led by a coach who is very familiar on how to beat you. Maybe not necessarily Matt Rhule,
sure,
but how to beat Nebraska football. And this goes back to some of those ghosts of the past. I remember we were talking to Damon Benning about this a ways back when it came down to those mental hurdles, being able to surpass those mental hurdles, turn the page, and not let it impact the outcome of a game. Has Nebraska completely done that? I would say to a large degree, they haven't done it as much as they need to. So it's still there. So that's why I say that 3-0 start, sure, great. Michigan State, you're going to be favored even on the road against. But there's your first test of how this program handles success.
Not even just success, Nick. It's just their first test of the year.
But
like just outright, like
but
not,
if you're
not even success.
But if you're 3-0, successful
But
start.
do you even count that? I mean, well,
sure, you got to win.
I don't know if I count that as success as much as just doing the bare minimum. Right?
Yeah, but how many?
Obviously, it's successful.
How many
but
times has
that's the bare
Nebraska?
minimum.
How many times has Nebraska rattled off 3 wins in a row and then have been able to parlay that into 4 or 5 or 6? You know, I mean, it doesn't happen a lot because something gets in their way. Either and a lot
But
of
if they
times,
didn't do it here,
well, yeah. But I'm just saying, a lot of times we've seen a team kind of like a Michigan State get in their way, and they haven't been able to overcome that, and then they kind of get knocked back.
That I agree with. I just think, winning those first 3 games is just the bare minimum. Like I would consider it successful, but the fall off in terms of my evaluation of how the season is going from them winning the first 3 games and considering that, in my mind, baseline to losing any of the 3 is massive, right? So, like, I have a hard time saying, even though in theory it is successful, yeah, it's a successful season to start 3-0 in this situation. No, it's just the expectation to start 3-0 against 3 non-Power 4 opponents. Now, what your point made about Michigan State is true, right? Like, there's an argument to be made, and I'm going to make a different argument here shortly when we do our cold hard truths, that Michigan State is one of the most important games of the season, if not the most important. I get that. Largely because of what you're saying. Of like, that's kind of the type of game that Nebraska from time to time has found ways to lose, where you have this early road test in a place that has generally been a sleepy sort of environment that you have to bring your own energy to. We saw it in November in the first year of Matt Rhule in 23 and how that played out. So, it can happen. I think if I bet the over and Nebraska went 4-1 to start, I would be incredibly nervous. Incredibly nervous.
I would too.
Like, over bettors on this have to see Nebraska winning the first 5. Because if you don't, then that leaves the 2 winnable November games, Illinois and Rutgers, and an upset against one of the ranked teams in the Big Ten right now, which Nebraska obviously has struggled to do over the last decade.
To go back to the original premise that we were talking about, a question popped into my mind a little bit earlier when we were talking about Tom Chattel sit down and get some comments with Troy Dannen. In your mind, what is a better investment? Put yourself in the seat of a fan. What's a better investment? Would it be to invest $20? Let's say that you have $20. Would it be to invest that $20 into NIL and into getting Nebraska better talent, better development? Or would it be to go to a sports book, put the $20 down, and bet Nebraska going under 6.5? Is that the better investment for you?
No fan should be betting the under.
But
there is no fan. Investment? There's no fan out there. If you are listening to this, and you are, please. There is no fan that should be allowed to bet the under.
Why?
Because if you're a fan, you should not be rooting against your team ever.
But what if
I know friends? I have at least one friend who says he says, and he is, because he goes to games, that he says he is a Nebraska fan. You should never, he hedges his bets all the time against Nebraska.
Well, what if you just truly don't think it's going to be a good year?
And you should never bet against your team because your money, your winning interest is against rooting for your team that you say you're a fan of.
Yeah, but
I make more money if Nebraska loses more games. That's not a fan.
You can't emotionally hedge.
I want to get back to that. We're going to talk to Evan Bland. I want to circle
emotional hedging.
I want to circle back to that because I disagree with you on that one. Evan Bland, though, of the Omaha World Herald, is set to join us next. We'll get his thoughts on what he heard from Matt Rhule and as Nebraska gets closer and closer to Ohio Prep. All of that ahead with Evan. It's AM 590 WOW.
Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. Their technicians don't earn commission. This equals fair treatment to their customers. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company, and now to celebrate the 75th year in business for a limited time, get a New York AC or furnace for $75 per month. Get you and your loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Call 402-391-2336.
Well, looks like you found the water hazard again. Good news, the next stop is Bushwood Lounge. I'm pouring craft cocktails, have your favorite beers on tap, and hosting happy hour every day from 2 to 7 with $1 off every drink. Whether you just survived 18 holes or simply just want to act like you did, Bushwood Lounge is the perfect 19th hole. Come raise a glass and swap a few golf stories at Bushwood Lounge, where everyone's a member. Check us out on Facebook and Instagram.
No. Make your business travel in style with custom vehicle wraps from Omaha Auto Wraps. Your car, truck, or SUV will become a moving advertisement, seen by hundreds of people daily. Visit Omaha Auto Wraps right now at omahaautorapps.com for a free design consultation. Put a wrap on your vehicle and grab attention. Visit them at 14609 Prairie Corner Road in Omaha, 1 block from the Amazon warehouse on Highway 370, and always online at omahaautorapps.com.
Round the Bend Steakhouse in Ashland, Nebraska has been putting meat in your mouth since 1995. Round the Bend proudly supports local family farms by exclusively partnering with certified Angus beef. Our steaks are hand-cut in-house daily and wet-aged 40 days for flavor and tenderness that straight slaps, bro. Translation, it's stupid good. We're smack dab between Lincoln and Omaha, just off I-80 exit 426. Round the Bend Steakhouse, home of the Testicle Festival and beef done right.
Looking for Omaha's best tacos, wings, and tequila? Look no further than the Corner Kick Cantina, where tacos and tequila reign supreme. Our unique Midwest Mex experience blends the bold flavors of Mexican cuisine with the warmth of Midwest hospitality. Voted best of Omaha for tacos, it's the perfect spot to enjoy delicious food and catch the game. Whether you're gathering with friends, colleagues, or family, the Corner Kick Cantina has it all. 3 Omaha locations. Online at thecornerkickcantina.com.
When downtime isn't an option, don't get your feathers ruffled. Call RNC Livestock Services in Fremont, providing reliable professional support for producers with expert maintenance and repairs for chicken, hog, and dairy farms. RNC Livestock Services is dedicated to helping farmers protect their investments and ready to wrangle all your livestock equipment parts and service needs. RNC Livestock keeps your operation moving. Find them online at rnclivestockservices.com or call 402-704-2770.
In August, fun takes flight at Blackbird Bend Casino. Get 200 bonus points for every 10 points you earn on Monday evenings in August. Join us for hot seats every Wednesday afternoon. A guest wins every 15 minutes. Get $5 in free play for every 25 points you earn on Thursdays from 2 p.m. to midnight. And earn 6 times points on Saturdays from 2 p.m. to 2 a.m. and 7 times points all day on Sundays, all through August. Great gaming, delicious food, and friendly service are just around the bend at Blackbird Bend Casino near Ottawa, Iowa.
Kick back and strap in for some lively conversation. Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Don't forget you can take us everywhere. Download the AM 590 WOW app. The link is on 590WOW.com or at the Apple or Google Play Store. It's free and you can take us everywhere. Welcome back. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW. I'm Grant Hansen and he is Nick Handley.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald set to join us here as we get ready for Nebraska having more of a little bit of a normal practice schedule. School starts today. Classes start today for the Huskers and for the University of Nebraska system. So then it'll be Thursday of this week, according to the head coach, Matt Rhule, is when they will get into Ohio prep. And then next week will be the regular game week. There'll be a couple simulated games over the weekend as well between Friday and Saturday as we welcome in Evan Bland from the Omaha World Herald. Evan, I want to start with this. Maybe the biggest takeaway I had from Saturday and hearing from Matt Rhule is Gunnar Gatula, regardless of the status of Tree Babalade, is still part of their 5 best. I mean, essentially, are you led to believe that Gunnar Gatula is the starting right tackle going into the Ohio game?
Well, it's starting to look that way. And Nebraska's been working Gatula all over the line. I think that was one of the notable nuggets from earlier in camp was he had been repping some at both guard spots, which he'd never really done as a Husker. So that kind of gave you a clue as to what they felt like he could be at the worst as a 6th man and the first guy in. And so when you see Tree Babalade in that yellow jersey with an injury, it doesn't sound like it's major, but he's not repping with the ones and in live work, then, I mean, that's Gatula stepping in. And, I mean, he took advantage of his rehab in the off season. Matt Rhule said, yeah, what you lose in terms of like spring reps and preparing for games, like he made up for in the weight room to get stronger. Obviously his dad is an accomplished coach at Lincoln Southeast. So he's been around the schemes and the techniques and all of that all of his life. And he's been a multi-year starter already for Nebraska. It's not like they're strictly banking on potential or behind the scenes stuff. We've seen what Gunnar Gatula can do on the field. So I think that's probably one of the bigger twists out of this training camp. And it came at a position where it kind of felt like the starting 5 were set going into the year, and Gatula has forced the issue. And still, I think the floor is he's an incredibly valuable 6th man, but it does look like he's probably trending toward being that guy at right tackle. I'm sure we'll see plenty of Tree Babalade as well, but Matt Rhule sort of hinted at this earlier in camp too, when he said the competition level at a lot of these positions is such that if you miss a little time through no fault of your own, injuries or whatever else, like other guys are going to take advantage of that. And I think we're seeing Gatula do that here in the last week or two.
Evan Bland from the Omaha World Herald here with us on Handley and Hansen. And Evan, just some good stuff from Roy Manning earlier this past week about Nebraska's edge group. Matt Rhule says it's maybe one of the deeper parts for this team. But what's the expectation there? How do you measure it? Is it sacks or is it something else?
Well, I thought the dialogue was good this week about affecting the pocket, right? And Matt Rhule sort of followed up on that as well, saying, yeah, ultimately you want the sack numbers, but sometimes it's as little as if you can push your guy into the quarterback and it gets him off his feet, and then the next guy comes in and finishes the job, or it leads to an incompletion, like those are just as valuable. And, when I think of how Nebraska ended its season last year with those blowout losses to Penn State, Iowa, Utah, like one of the things that they just had no control over was setting the edge. And it just felt like Penn State, if they wanted to run outside, they were going to run outside. If Iowa wanted to do that, Utah did it. And I think Nebraska feels like it has the edges now to set those edges and to force the runs back to the interior where your tackles and your linebackers can clean it up. I mean, you're counting on the next step from a guy like Williams Nwaneri, who was a former 5-star, has all the physical ability in the world, or a guy like Anthony Jones, who is a grown man. Now he's a dad, 5th-year guy, knows football, knows technique, has played a ton of it. Cam Lenhart, another former touted prospect who I think in a 4-man front will be better suited to produce and do what he does. He sort of hinted at that early in camp when he's like, yeah, I get to be a defensive end. I get to, kind of sort of specialize a little bit more in some of my responsibilities than what the 3-man front maybe brought out there. So I think it's a combination of the 4-man front, the scheme change, individual development. Some of the players that they brought in, Cade Petschok, we saw a little bit of what he could do as a freshman, and now he's a year older and more experienced. So if indeed that's one of Nebraska's deeper position groups, as Matt Rhule said, I mean, that portends positive things for Nebraska, because I think it's a group where, sure, you'd love to have a couple of stars, but if you can have 4-6 guys who can give you 30 quality snaps a game in some combination, like that's a recipe for winning games in the Big Ten and holding your own in the trenches. So obviously it has to play out that way, but just the fact that Matt Rhule would say that, and you can kind of see how some of that comes together on the roster, is probably an encouraging sign for where that defensive line is.
It's Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. We're talking with Evan Bland of the World Herald. Speaking of the Omaha World Herald, I know Tom Chattel had a really good write-up about not only just the financial arms race and the NIL standard, but also being able to get Troy Dannen's comments on this. Evan, I don't know how much of this was, or maybe say an eye-opener, but just a reminder of where college athletics, more importantly football, is in 2026. And for a Nebraska football program, it seems like it has a lot of resources. There's still some catching up to do.
Yeah, there is. And that's where college athletics is going. Certainly college football is going, is money related, right? It's the AP poll, but it's also the NIL top 25. And those two lists are probably not all that different. And Troy Dannen is unapologetic about the fact that that's what it's going to take to win in the current climate. And that's what motivates Nebraska to undergo these reseats and to activate Memorial Stadium for concerts like the one they had on Saturday night, and just do these different things, trying to raise money, realizing that piece of it is more important than it ever has been. I mean, the other things that have gone into talent acquisition are still part of it for Nebraska when you talk about academics and fan support and different things. But the number one thing is you're seeing in the portal era is how much can you pay the players, and whether that's through rev share, NIL, whatever it might be. Like, Nebraska's still working to activate that. They're still, I think, working to continue to raise funds for the Memorial Stadium project as well. I mean, that's a bill that they're continuing to have to pay for here down the stretch as they look to modernize and use their stadium to the best of their abilities. So it's not, it's not maybe as fun of a conversation for a lot of fans to have, certainly not for administration to have. But it's just kind of where it is. I think CBS Sports also had a pretty good story recently about, even within the Big Ten, forget about at the FBS level, even just within the Big Ten, you can see these hierarchies where you've got Oregon and Ohio State spending $40 million plus on a roster, and then you have a middle class, and then you have kind of that bottom, maybe third or quarter of the league as well, that's right around that rev share minimum. And Nebraska's somewhere in the middle. They're trying to continue to improve upon those resources and get the talent that'll come with that. But it's sort of the battle within the battle. How can Nebraska continue to raise that revenue to make itself as competitive as possible? And I think the season reminds you that, like, it's sort of like what we just saw with men's basketball. If you can have a good season, if you can capture the imagination and the excitement of a fan base, then that support's going to come. And so it's sort of an interesting little sub-narrative, I think, to what's going to happen with this season. Is if Nebraska can beat a ranked team, if they can be in the CFP talk into November, then I think that support's going to be a lot easier to come by than it has been with all these years of struggle.
Evan Sam also wrote a good piece over at omaha.com and asking sort of the question that, like, Nebraska under Matt Rhule has done a good job of raising the floor for 3-star prospects, but now maybe the next step is adding to the ceiling of 4- and 5-star guys. Is there a blue chip player on this team, or maybe more than one, that you think is under a lot of pressure to elevate their play in 2026?
Well, I mean, the guy that comes to mind for me is Williams-Nwaneri right away. Like, he's been a college player for a couple of years now. That's a position that Nebraska has really struggled to get right consistently. When you're talking about a pass rusher who can affect the quarterback, but also set the edge and be a factor in stopping the run game. And so it's not like he was recruited by everybody out of high school, 5-star at a position that's a premium one for disrupting offenses. Got a taste of it at Missouri. He's been in the system now at Nebraska, been through the nutrition, the strength training. Like this, it feels like this would be the time when a guy like that would pop after the financial and the time investment, the coaching investment that has gone into that. And so the opportunity is there. And is he, in a spot schematically, is he in a spot just with his individual development to go out and affect games in a profound way? I think that's an interesting one. And then, another guy earlier on his track would be Danny Odom, the 5-star corner. Like Ohio State wanted him. Everybody wanted him. And it's not to say that you'd expect him to be a star right away as a true freshman, but can he be a factor? Can he continue to push in the corner competition? Can he be a difference maker on special teams? And can he be a guy next year who it's like Andrew Marshall's gone. This is someone who clearly has earned that reputation. So if you get that 5-star clay, you got to mold it, you got to put it in a spot that will be effective and help develop and prepare those types of people for the NFL and the next level. And Nebraska just hasn't done that consistently enough. Now they have, I think, some talent that certainly you could look at as professional level quality, and we'll see how that translates into production now and maybe eventually vaults their careers in the future too.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald joins us every Monday at this time. Evan, this time next week, man, game week. We'll have a Matt Rhule presser. We'll have a depth chart officially. Well, at least we think we will. This is fun, man.
This is great. We're going to get the single-digit, jerseys. I think that'll be telling for the leadership of this team. And it's Frank Solich Bowl week, Ohio, Nebraska. Right. It's going to be great.
Appreciate it, Evan. Have a great week, man.
Thanks, guys. See ya.
Evan Bland of the Omaha World Herald. When we come back, we have our Cold Hard Truths brought to you by SOS, and that is coming up right after this. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
Tired of aches slowing you down? 42 Degrees supports everyday wellness with trained, approachable staff and clear guidance on comfort-focused options. No guessing, no pressure. Learn more at 42degrees.com. Trusted by Mom.
The Summer of Performance event is going on right now at Acura of Omaha. Now it's time for you to take advantage of these low payment lease offers at Acura of Omaha, 4211 South 144th Street. Always open at AcuraofOmaha.com.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
The players are in no way going to say that the Dodgers are doing anything wrong because it's against their own interests. They have this big battle coming where they are going to be railing against the owners for a salary cap. They don't want to put a cap on their earnings. They're never going to say that publicly because it's the antithesis of what they need to project as the CBA battle looms.
With Evan, Canty, and Michelle, every weekday morning, AM 590, WOW.
This just in. Due to extreme heat and humidity, your oven has refused to turn on and has officially gone on strike. But have no fear, Lofi and Country Hearth Dakota-style 12-grain bread is here. Stay cool with a sandwich stacked high on Country Hearth bread for dinner instead. Soft, fresh, and no heat required. And if you're serving with chips, mind the crunching. Lofi doesn't like it. When your oven's off the clock, dinner's on Lofi and Country Hearth.
Hi, I'm Ryan Kaiser, founder of Kaiser Wealth Management. At Kaiser Wealth Management, we work one-on-one with clients to help create personalized financial strategies designed around their unique goals and priorities. Backed by nearly 3 decades of industry experience, I'm committed to provide thoughtful guidance and personalized attention every step of the way. Learn more about planning for the retirement you've worked so hard to achieve. Contact us today at kaiserwealth.com. We're in Omaha. Securities offered through LPL Financial, member FINRA SIPC.
Jeff Ballinger, Gorilla Car Wash, and your family has quite a history in Council Bluffs.
Jack, we've been blessed to be in business 100 years. My grandfather starting Ballinger Automotive in 1926, and Gorilla Car Wash, of course, starting 1991. So we have been blessed to be in business. We're grateful to the people in the metro area. who have traded with us for so long. Yeah, we sure haven't taken it for granted.
That is quite a legacy. It's Gorilla Car Wash. Find those 8 locations, GorillaWash.com.
With school just around the corner, don't forget to buy Nordic Naturals DHA products. DHA is essential for normal brain and eye development, and it may help attention, behavior, and reading. And these supplements are on sale the whole month of August at no-name nutrition markets. Available in capsules, gummies, and liquid form.
No Name Nutrition, the natural place to shop.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
We may not be the biggest dealership around, but we strive to be the best. And Fremont agrees. We've been honored with 9 Best of Fremont awards, including Best Place to Work, New Car Dealer, Pre-Owned Car Dealer, Locally Owned Business, Tire Store, Auto Repair, Glass Repair, Body Shop, and Best Oil Change. See why so many drivers choose Deer's Ford Lincoln. Visit us today at deersford.com. Fremont's best award-winning dealership.
Have you been to Deer's Ford lately?
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Hey, don't forget Hoop It Up is coming up this Saturday, August 29th. Tournament is open to ages 8 and up for boys, girls, men, and women. And we have recently added a co-ed and business division. That's right, a business division. Again, you can register now and go using the promo code Omaha50. That's Omaha50. And if you use that promo code, you can register for just $150. You still got a couple of days to get that news team assembled right now. Again, just log on to hoopitup.com/Nebraska and use the promo code Omaha50, Omaha50, and you can register for just $150.
There you go.
I am pumped. I won't be out there, unfortunately. The age is, well, I couldn't find anybody to play, and we got a lot of stuff going on
we
Saturday
have a lot
too.
of stuff going on that day.
We've got our boom stock going on. So
Boom stock is Saturday,
but I might if this thing goes strong and it carries into next year, I could consider it. I just wouldn't be much of an asset to any team, but it'd be fun because Hoop It Up was a lot of fun. Speaking of fun, we're about to give you our cold, hard truths brought to you by SOS, third generation family owned, where they give you better pricing and better warranties than anyone else. That is SOS. And it is time for our cold, hard truths. All right.
SOS.
Who's going to start this one?
I think it's me.
All right, go for it. Give me
All right,
your
so
hard,
earlier in the hour, I was saying, look, I can understand why people would make an argument for Michigan State as maybe the more important game or Washington, but as I was thinking about it over the weekend, the most important 2-game stretch for Nebraska football this year is Rutgers and Illinois at the end, or rather beginning, of November. This is a set of games that will follow the Washington game, that will follow what will be a pretty tough month for Nebraska football. Indiana, Oregon, Washington, Maryland at the beginning. You need to give folks some good memories to actually close the season with for the first time in the Matt Rhule era. If you could win those games, Nebraska would finish 2-2 in the month of November.
Pinstripe Bowl doesn't count?
That is a huge, huge part of this season. Nebraska's not getting to 6 wins if they don't find a way to win at least one of those. And you certainly need, I think, both of those to get to 7. So that is the biggest point of this season, I think. If you can get those 2 and go 2-2 at least in November, I mean, hell, if you could get them all 4, that'd be great. But if you can get those 2, that guarantees you at least a 500 month of November. And that is so important to get that narrative, that November narrative on the back burner for the upcoming point, or rather off season that you'll see. So that to me, I think sticks out as the most important part. 5-5 Nebraska is against Illinois in the last 10 meetings. You can't go under 500. Nebraska's never lost to Rutgers. They're 6-0 against Rutgers all time. A loss in either of those would send a bad message and likely set up under 500 month of November.
All right, that's Grant's cold hard truth. Justice, what's your cold hard truth today?
So I was thinking about this a lot yesterday as I was kind of driving back from spending some time with my family. And I had read over Troy Dannen's comments in the sit-down he did with Tom Chattel for the Omaha World Herald. And I thought to myself, okay, Nebraska 9th out of 18th, according to this NIL initiative rankings in NIL in the Big Ten. And then it kind of dawned on me. I went, wait a minute. This is Nebraska. This is a proud institution. This is a staple and a blue blood of college football. And now Nebraska has relegated itself to being a beggar? You are begging for investment. You are begging for money. Nebraska as an institution should be too proud to beg. But we're at the point where the prince has become the pauper. And now all of a sudden, Troy Dannen, Nebraska as a program, is making out like the high school girl that you had a crush on 20 years ago. Boy, 20 years ago, she looked pretty darn great. She had a lot of status. She's still a smoke show. Now she's 20 years older. She's got a couple of kids. That dress don't fit the same that it used to, honey. And now you're still trying to get the same handouts that you were 20 years ago. It just don't work like that anymore. That's not the state of affairs now. Nebraska has relegated itself to being a beggar, and it's quite sad, even though they've got what looks to be a pretty experienced and pretty solid team coming into the season, albeit against a tough schedule. So the cold, hard truth for this week is Nebraska has quickly turned itself into a beggar over a little bit of money when it should be a prince and pounded the chest and table of college football.
Overachieve, baby, overachieve, and let the dollars start rolling back in for Nebraska. All right, my cold hard truth, I'm going to the golf world and was reminded this last weekend that as the unfortunate end of the season for Live Golf might be the very end of Live Golf. The Saudi Arabia Public Investment Fund announced earlier that they would only fund the league till the end of this season. Since then, Live has had to cancel their New Orleans event. They had to cancel their end-of-the-year championship in Michigan. Numbers have been down. Tickets have been slashed in half just to get people to show up for these events. I myself will not cry for the end of Live Golf, but what I will recognize, and this is the cold, hard truth, is that Live Golf was actually very, very good for the sport in general, especially for the PGA. It forced the PGA Tour to stop taking players for granted when you thought the John Rahms of the world, the Brooks Koepkas of the world, even the Bryson DeChambos of the world, and Dustin Johnsons would not leave because you are the PGA Tour. It exposed outdated parts of the PGA Tour model. When we think of different things concept-wise, when it came to the stodgy crowd, providing some more entertainment, being able to attract more youth into events. It also made the PGA Tour look like a more professional sports league, too. The purses got better. The players actually did win. Even the ones who didn't join Live Golf got to go into these now elevated or the signature events in PGA golf because they knew the best way to keep all of their core players intact was to start competing from a financial standpoint. So as we say goodbye to Live Golf, and I truly feel we are, and we saw the last of it, it actually helped the PGA Tour and everybody on that tour. And I think people that are going to attend PGA events going forward. So thank you, Liv. Good riddance. We'll see you down the road.
I think that's a good take. I think that's a pretty accurate representation of what happened.
I think so, too. I hated the Live Golf. I thought it was just, I thought it was a circus. But what it actually did was, it's kind of like what we see with the NCAA. At some point, it takes so much shaking, whether it's competition or whatever, to finally get through to the powers that be that you need to modernize your thinking. There are too many archaic rules that exist. And until you evolve, you are going to be the dinosaur. And the other person, or in this case with golf, Live is going to flourish and you're going to fall by the wayside because you're not going to have any of your names be involved anymore. I always think of the NCAA when they finally decide NIL, okay, yep, we're going to have to do this. At that point, I don't think the NCAA just cared anymore. I think they're just like, whatever. Yeah. I guess we can't control this anymore.
They threw up their hands until this. Yeah. I mean, they've really thrown up their hands since this 5-for-5 thing. It's been the one thing where they've actually decided to enter into this quagmire.
It's the archaic nature of thinking, though, that I always felt left the NCAA vulnerable for all of these things to happen, even when they showed that ability to modernize. That at least the comparison to what Live and PGA had is it opened the PGA's eyes, I think, just in time, and they survived it. They will go further, even stronger than they were before Live Golf. So I think the PGA should thank the Live concept, and I think golf fans should also thank the Live concept when it comes to enjoying PGA golf. That is our Cold Hard Truths, brought to you every Monday by our good friends over at SOS. They are the very best. You could always get an honest opinion for a great price. They save their customers thousands of dollars compared to the other big companies. SOS to the rescue. And also, don't forget, pretty cool endorsement going on there by TJ Lateef.
Yeah. TJ, thermostat.
Temperature judge.
Temperature judge. That's it.
It's temperature judge, TJ.
Yeah. I mean,
how great has that been? It started with the coldest, then they got over to Nash, and now it's TJ.
Polar bear. Yeah. Who was it last year?
I don't think they had one last year.
I thought they did have one, and it was somewhat surprising. I can't remember who it was.
Yeah,
They've
I'm
done a
not
really
sure.
good job of being on the ball and creative with those.
Yes.
And again, like that, those Illinois and Rutgers games right there, like those are the most critical games of the whole season. Because if they can go 2-2 in November, that will walk back some of the pressure. If they maybe go 4-1 in the first 5, or you get to at least 7 with Ohio State and Iowa still to come, and a chance to maybe get to 8 at that point. So
the good news is, even with Illinois, the record combined between those two, especially for Matt Rhule, but also Nebraska in the last 10 years, is actually favorable with those two schools compared to some of the other combinations.
Oh, yeah.
That are in play
right.
as well.
Well, I mean, it helps never losing to Rutgers.
Never losing to Rutgers. You've had a week 0 folly against Illinois, and then, of course, the Friday night game in Lincoln did not go Nebraska's way.
But
and
the
then,
Friday night game before did.
It did. But then there was that
looking for a Friday
game in Champaign.
So wait. So have the last 3 meetings between Nebraska and Illinois been on Fridays after this year?
Yes. Yeah, that'll be 3.
Strange.
3 straight. That's right. All right, when we come back, we are going to talk a little bit about some quarterbacks, too. Some of the beefy variety. And there's a reason why. We'll explain that after this. Coming up in the 5 o'clock hour, you won't want to miss it. Matt Schick. Yes, that Matt Schick will be joining us at 5:20. Handley and Hansen continues here at AM 590 WOW.
You like a little competition? The Marksman Indoor Range has leagues and bowling pin shoots all year long, so you can shoot for score against the best in the area. New to it, certified instructors teach everything from the fundamentals to concealed carry, with safety first on every lane. 11 lanes, over 100 rentals to try. Families welcome. The Marksman, just west of Elkhorn in Waterloo. Open 7 days. Online at themarksmanindoorrange.com.
Have you heard? Sony just came out with a revolutionary new line of TV monitors. And the picture, in a word, OMG. Well, that's 3 words, but critics are going gaga over Sony's new True RGB TV. It's a game changer. The most vibrant, rich, true-to-life colors, 1.5 times brighter than previous TVs. If you love sports or movies, you've got to see this today. Stop in for a demo at Custom Electronics, 75th and Pacific.
Hi, this is Dave Navity. Every Saturday, right here on AM 590 WOW, my show, Saturday Mornings with Dave Navity, is the place to be. 6 to 9 every Saturday. We'll cover news, politics, current events, and anything else my brain decides to conjure up. One promise, it'll be entertaining, and it'll be the right way to start your Saturday morning right here on AM 590 WOW.
How are the Omaha Supernovas redefining professional volleyball? Because no one supports the game like Novas Nation. General Manager John Cook has assembled a roster featuring former Husker Merritt Beeson and stars from around the volleyball world, all with one goal: bring another championship to Omaha. Be there for all 13 home matches at CHI Health Center this January and experience the loudest, most electric atmosphere in professional volleyball. Secure your season tickets today at supernovas.com and join the world's #1 volleyball fan base.
Le Peep has been Omaha's favorite breakfast destination for a reason. Whether you're meeting with friends for brunch, catching up over coffee, or enjoying a family breakfast, Le Peep serves fresh, made-from-scratch favorites you'll come back for again and again. Pair your meal with a handcrafted coffee made from locally sourced espresso and discover why Omaha has voted Le Peep the #1 best breakfast for 19 years. Stop by one of our 4 convenient locations and taste the Le Peep difference for yourself.
Omaha heat can be brutal, and a broken AC makes it worse. If your system can't keep up, call Controlled Comfort for fast, professional cooling service. Their certified technicians diagnose issues quickly and restore comfort when you need it most. Stay cool, protect your system, and avoid costly breakdowns. Homes and businesses alike enjoy reliable indoor comfort through the hottest days of summer across Omaha all season long. Schedule your service today at ControlledComfort.com.
Controlled Comfort keeps it under control.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Oh, really? Huh. Interesting. We were just talking during the break here on Handley and Hansen. By the way, welcome back here on AM 590 WOW. Still time for your calls, 531-895-0590. But I was shocked the amount of people that were at the concert at Memorial Stadium this past weekend because I didn't really recognize any of the names on the billing. But they drew well. Good for them.
I knew of Cross Canadian Ragweed because of my time in Columbus. They performed at the Platte County Fair one year. And they were
How many years ago?
That would have been like either 08 or 09.
Okay. So they're still going strong. And now they're playing Memorial Stadium or played.
Yeah, it was
them.
It was a big deal. I always get excited when we can talk about maybe one of the greatest athletes that does not get enough credit for the position that he played at the University of Kentucky at the quarterback position, and that was Jared Lorenzen. Rest in peace, Jared Lorenzen, who passed away not that long ago, actually. As he was known as the Hefty the Lefty or the Pillsbury Throw Boy, because he was an offensive lineman, essentially playing quarterback. He had the physique to back that up. Now, Jared Lorenzen, correct me if I'm wrong, I think ended his football days in arena football. I believe he was playing some
digging
arena
up
football.
some stuff right now. See what I find.
Now, Jared,
buy that,
and he was a Giant.
Kentucky River Monsters.
Yeah, there you go.
League MVP.
He was a New York Giant as well.
That makes sense. He's a Super Bowl champion.
He is.
So
that's right. Jared Lorenzen was a large individual. He was basically his listed weight, I think, was like right around 6'4". He's like a biscuit shy of 3.
6'4", 285.
285. There you go. Yeah, like I said, he's okay. Maybe a few biscuits shy of 300, but not too close or not too far away.
Too far.
So now you've got, which this is always fun to see, another quarterback. Now, not nearly the same type of size, but when it does come to the the quarterback world, we're not only talking about a college quarterback for Ball State, but we're also talking about a high school quarterback that has a similar size. Now, the first guy we bring up, Kedrick Luster, who was named the quarterback for Ball State. Kedrick Luster is a large individual. Kedrick Luster comes in at 5'10", is it 250 or 260?
He is listed at 250.
250. 5'10", 250. So he kind of looks, I don't know, what would you say? Definitely not full-on offensive lineman.
He's rotund, though.
But would you guys say like maybe a bit of a heavier middle linebacker?
I think that's a good comp. Like
he's kind of a run plugger.
He's not Lorenzen's size.
He's
not even close.
Well, he's not as
fullback
tall
size.
either. Yeah, there you go. He'd be a good fullback.
Mhm.
Yeah. He'd be kind of a good bowling ball fullback. I think that's a good way to look at it. And then we were given the information of another quarterback. Now, this guy, first of all, is got to be part of the Key and Peele all-name team.
That's what I'm saying.
We've got Fat Boy Jesus Capisi.
Mm-hmm.
Or Jesus Capices, we don't know. But
I'm going Jesus.
His real name, this is not a nickname. It is Fat Boy, and then Jesus Capisi is hyphenated. He is 6'1", 268.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sorry, guys. I don't mean to laugh at this. One of my favorite things, and it goes all the way back to watching Jared Lorenzen, especially when they're mobile, and this watching the Jesus Capisi highlights, he's mobile.
Mm-hmm.
And he's like quick step, quick twitch, like letting it rip.
Oh, yeah.
But he's a large kid, man.
So he's
got a big midsection.
It's actually not his real name. I mean, it's his essentially adopted name. Like it's a nickname that's been used so much that it's essentially his name. His actual real name is Keisel. Now, the reason Keisel was called that was because he came out the womb weighing 10 pounds, according to Hawaii Sports Radio. And then his parents called him Fat Boy.
Yeah.
And that's been his nickname since.
What does that say for some of the rest of us that popped out of the womb at 10 plus pounds?
I don't know.
What's
man.
that supposed to mean?
He can throw on the run, though.
You know he's only a sophomore in high school? He's a sophomore.
Yeah, he looks like a grown man already.
Now, he did throw 2 picks in his first game, 13 to 20, 193, 2 interceptions, and a touchdoall.
He's a gunslinger.
But he's mobile.
He does move well around.
That's the thing. He's mobile, and so is this Kendrick Luster guy with Ball State, just like how Jared Lorenzen was. There is just something to behold when, okay, for lack of a better term, a fat guy is playing quarterback.
Luster is not fat. I would not consider Luster fat.
He's real tough.
Like if I saw Luster outside without the shoulder pads and helmet on, I don't think I would refer to him as fat.
You wouldn't say he plays quarterback.
No, I agree with that 100%. But I mean, I think a lot of it is got to be in his legs.
He's stout. Okay, we'll say he's stout.
Yeah,
he's
but
thick. He's thick.
Yeah, but to what Nick's saying, there is something to behold with a bunch of guys who are hauling 250, 260 pounds of pure wagon behind them. They are dragging.
And they have better agility than any 3 of us, which is amazing. I just love watching that. It's like, look at what they're carrying, and yet your feet should not be able to move like that. I was always amazed with Jared Lorenzen. He'd dance around the pocket, and then all of a sudden he would just take off. I'm like, how can you do that?
Dude, they can dance a freaking samba. It's impressive with some of these guys, the way that they can move their feet. It's like they're trained dancers. It's impressive what they got going, especially with Fat Boy Jesus Capisi. I mean, you saw some of the throws. I mean, he's trying to spin him into some tight windows now. Even in high school as a sophomore, those are tough throws to make, man.
He was fun. I like watching the highlights.
Do we need more fat quarterbacks? I think they're good for the game.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
I think we've got a healthy amount.
I'm all for more body diversity. I think that's pretty cool. Why not?
I think we could use
Nebraska started Dylan Raiola for 2 years. So,
well, yeah, that's true.
Not quite.
By the way, funny, Capisi wears 15.
There you go. Another Hawaiian quarterback wearing 15.
Thought that was something,
Interesting.
It is what it is.
Trying to cosplay Patrick Mahomes.
Coming up about 25 minutes, Matt Schick will be joining us here on the show. We're going to kick things off with a little bit of CBS Sports Big Ten bold predictions. Anything on Nebraska? I want to get back to something Grant was talking about, too, with that betting line for Nebraska. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590, WOW.
The legend has returned. Sports Talk Huskers. AM 590. WOW. Omaha. This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. QB1 for the Browns is the man who gives them the best chance to move the ball and score points, according to Coach Todd Monken. He and his staff apparently determined that's Deshaun Watson. 30-year-old beat out Shedeur Sanders for the starting job in Cleveland. ESPN NFL analyst Marcus Spears.
You got ownership that's not willing to admit that they made a catastrophic mistake and it's turning their franchise into a joke. You got a young second-year player that you drafted out of Colorado in Shedeur, unwillingness to admit that I made a terrible decision and a terrible mistake. It's over. It's bad. Naming him a starter is not going to change anything about your franchise or organization going forward.
Watson with the $230 million fully guaranteed contract, 9-10 with 19 touchdown passes, 12 interceptions with Cleveland. 49ers owner Jed York pleaded no contest to a pair of misdemeanor charges today after being arrested in Ohio on suspicion of engaging in prostitution. Texans acquired receiver Kayshon Boutte from the Patriots for safety Jalen Reed and a 2028 seventh-round pick. Last week, Houston lost receiver Jaden Higgins for the season with a torn ACL.
If you run a small business, you've got to try Gusto. Get unlimited payroll runs and get your payroll taxes filed automatically. Offer health insurance, 401k, and more. Get started for free at gusto.com.
Join AM 590 WOW for the Cruisin' for a Cure car show to benefit the Nebraska Prostate Cancer Alliance. The show will be held Sunday, September 20th at Centris Federal Credit Union, 132nd and Pacific. Registrations from 10 to noon, and the show's from noon to 3. Sponsored by In-Phase Car Audio, Methodist, IV, H&H Automotive, Insurance Advisors, Neff Towing, Nebraska Cancer Specialists, NFM, and AM 590 WOW. We'll see you at the Cruisin' for a Cure car show September 20th at Centris.
After my recent shoulder replacement, my surgeon was pretty particular about where I should go for PT. I am so gratefully recommended working with Brennan at EHS Physical Therapy and Chiropractic. Their 3-man staff use either movement or chiropractic or both to help you heal quickly and naturally. Of course, your pain is unique, so let them create a customized treatment plan to help get you back on track. Google EHS Physical Therapy and Chiropractic.
Call SOS, a trustworthy company since 1950. Their technicians don't earn commission. This equals fair treatment to their customers. SOS is a family-owned third-generation company, and now to celebrate the 75th year in business for a limited time, get a New York AC or furnace for $75 per month. Get you and your loved ones comfortable again with SOS.
SOS to the rescue. SOS. SOS.
Call 402-391-2336.
The AM 590 WOW app is here. Download it now at 590WOW.com or in your app store. You can take AM 590 everywhere. Every Husker game, every ESPN show, every Handley and Hansen broadcast. Anywhere you feel the need for sports talk and more, AM 590 WOW is right there with you. Get the app now at 590WOW.com.
This week in notable injuries, New York Yankees star Giancarlo Stanton's nightmare season continued with another injury setback. Stanton was rehabbing from a strained right calf with hopes of coming back at the beginning of September when he fell down running the bases and strained his left calf. With the new injury, there's a chance Stanton may not play at all again in 2026. That's this week's injury report presented by Abood Law Firm.
I never needed an attorney until this happened. Call Abood Law Firm. You want a pro in your corner. Get 40 years of experience. Their slogan, we're here to help. You never know when you'll need an attorney, but if that day comes, Abood Law Firm will consult with you for free, and you don't pay if they don't win. Check out aboodlawfirm.com. When accidents happen, when injuries happen, aboodlawfirm.com.
Welcome to the Hoppy Hour on Handley and Hansen. Brought to you by Monolithic Brewing. Carved from a single shared vision, delivering high quality, well-crafted beers. Now, let's crack this hour wide open.
Happy Hour here on a Monday. Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW, brought to you by Monolithic Brewing on 120th and Forts, where they've got, guess what, more cool events coming up. I went out to the Hatch Chili Fest, by the way, when we were done. Ooh, that was
good stuff.
Smoking hot stuff.
I imagine so.
It was very good. The food was great. The beer was great. Good turnout out there at Monolithic. And they've got another great event. I've been to this one as well. Their Oktoberfest release party is going to be on Friday, September 4th. They'll be tapping their Oktoberfest Marzen Lager, the Danke Shane Fest beer. Their Red Balloons Kolsch will be on tap and in 4-packs as well, just in time for football season. And this week, they've got the Zipper Merge Hazy IPA. That is their newest beer on tap. And then they're also on Thursday going to be releasing the Strawberry Banana Shandy as well. Perfect for those hot days. It's all at Monolithic Brewing on 120th and Fort. Before we get into the Big Ten bold predictions from the CBS Sports crew, we're going to be talking to Matt Schick here in just about 15 minutes as well. You brought up the hedging of the teams. So
I hate it.
You said you cannot, and you said you cannot bet the under on if you're a fan of a team. I would like you to explain more about this because
it's disloyal.
I really
There's not a lot to
this.
explain. It's just disloyal.
Okay,
if you claim to be a fan, you should never have a rooting interest against your team, ever.
But when you bet, Grant, I'm going to ask you, when you bet, what do you bet with? Like, what do you use to bet? Like,
Money.
are you using your hearts or using your brain?
Depends on the situation. I stay
What
away
would you
from
say
it.
the
I try to
smartest
use
betting
the
is?
brain more often than
Okay.
not, especially.
I agree.
What was the best bet? I'll tell you this. The best bet I've ever had, the most successful bet, was the 2025. It was the 2025 Royals, and for no runs to be scored in the second inning of their games. And that bet cashed all the time.
That's great. I got to say, I took issue with you cannot bet the under of a team that you root for, because I don't think anybody bets in rooting for anything to certainly happen. I think if you put money down, sure, obviously, if I'm putting money down, I feel some sort of way that this bet that I'm putting down is going to happen.
I am vehemently against emotional hedging.
Because I've bet the under on the Chicago Bears before. And every Sunday I was still rooting for the Chicago Bears to win. I was always doing that. I felt strongly.
But there's definitely a part of you that wasn't.
No, there wasn't.
There's
Honestly,
a part of you that's rooting for your bet.
Honestly, no. I think people can compartmentalize that. I think if you truly feel your team is going to either hit the over, hit the under, or in this case, the under, and you're, as you say, rooting against your team, I think you're just going with what your gut or head is telling you, and you feel that strongly about it. I don't think that means you're rooting against your team. I think that means you think this because you know your team may be better than some of the other teams, and so you feel stronger because you feel you have the data, you're more plugged into that team, and you feel like, gosh, this year just ain't going to be the year. I'm going to put money that they hit the under. Now, I sure as hell every Sunday am going to be turning on the TV, and I'm going to root for that team. And then by the end of the season, if the under hits and I'm mad because the Bears had a crappy season, oh, well, I guess at least the
But you
under
didn't.
hit.
Like, as soon as you made that bet, you did an action that was rooting against your team.
No, you didn't.
Yes, you did. You bet on them to lose fewer games than all of them.
But you're not rooting for that.
Doesn't matter. You are. No, you're inherently not. By putting money on the bet, you are rooting against them to do that.
But what makes
I totally disagree with that.
What makes that such a
I've
black and
lived
white
it.
decision? That's what I'm wondering.
What do you mean?
Yeah,
It is black and white. It's
I don't
black and
think
white
it
as
is.
hell.
I don't think it is.
How is that black and white?
What do you mean? You either bet, I don't think they're going to win that many games,
Yeah.
or you think they are going to win
but
that many games. That's black and white as it gets. And if you think
So
they're not going to win that many games,
But that makes me a bad fan?
you're immediately rooting against the team to win those amount of games.
I absolutely am not.
By making that decision.
If I'm betting on my team to go under the amount of wins, I'm not rooting against them to do it. I just think it's going to happen.
I just emotional
so if
hedging is just, it's so annoying to me.
But I think that's you got to be
like,
careful though, because
you
calling someone not a fan, or that's not
just
not
don't
good
bet.
fan
Just
behavior.
Just don't make the bet.
But what if you feel very strongly about it? Again, you got to remember, Grant, those teams, your team, you're a Giants fan. You're probably plugged into that team more than any of the other 31 teams in the NFL. So you have a pretty good idea of how you think the season's going to go. Just like I think that way with the team I root for, and I'm sure Justice does with him. I'm sure there are Nebraska fans that feel like they're pretty plugged into that team.
I don't disagree with that.
If they feel very strongly that their team is going to hit the under, I, for not 1 second, think, well, that makes you a bad fan. Don't bet it.
I didn't say it makes you a bad fan. I just say it makes you dishonest. That's what I'm saying.
How's that dishonest?
You're going into it and saying, well, I don't really believe in this team at all. And so, like,
Okay,
to
but
me,
what
it's
if you-
like, it's
what
a
if you really
situation.
don't?
It's a situation where you just say, either you don't make the bet at all, and you hope they do better, or you make the bet. That's all it is. Emotional hedging is, I can't do it. You just don't make the bet. If you don't think they're gonna win the game, just don't make the bet.
I don't-
betting against your team is just not.
But
it's
you
not
said
good
it's
practice.
bad fan behavior. I totally disagree with that. I don't see how that's
Oh,
bad
it
fan
is.
behavior. How?
It is. If you're walking out of the stadium after Nebraska loses to Iowa 2 years ago, and you're saying, "Well, I mean, Nebraska lost, but I made some money off of it."
No, here's exactly how that goes, Grant, because you're wrong. Here's how that goes. The season is over. I've done this before. The season's over. I'm like,
Clearly,
good
you like it.
Lord, this sucks. God, another bad season. Well, I guess at least my under hit.
Yeah,
how is that joy though?
It's compromise.
There's no, at least my under hit. There's not like, well, hey, at least I made money. No, you're like, well, I guess my under hit. Like you're trying to find something to have a silver lining on it, but you're not rooting for that. Like what you're saying.
But you're
is
by
every
inherently,
Sunday, I'm
you're-
sort of rooting for them to lose.
No, I'm saying as soon as you make the decision to bet against your team, you have done something that you are rooting against your team, even in that moment.
You're not rooting against them.
Yes, you are.
No, how is that? No.
Because you put your money up to it.
That's-
Anytime that's what you're doing. When you put your money into a situation saying, I don't believe my team is going to do this. Is that not a disloyal action? It is.
It's It's not.
Yes, it is.
But are you putting the same amount of emotional energy into putting money into a machine and it gives you a slip than you are to actively rooting for your team week in, week out? Because I've invested a lot of emotional energy now into this team. And also conversely, is it as black and white? Because what if you're looking at the long-term future of your program and you're saying there are certain individuals within this structural setup, within this organization, that in order for us to move on and advance as a franchise and advance as an organization, they need to be out of office. You may look at that and say, in my perspective, I want us to have a bad season because we need these people out for the long-term health of our club. Does it have
just
to
don't
be
bet
a
against the
season?
team. That's all it is. Like,
see, for
guys,
that,
like the calculus is simple. It's either if you think they're going to go over, you bet the over, and if you think they're going to go under, you just don't bet.
Why? What if you want to make money?
You just don't bet.
Yeah. What if you think they will go over and I want to make money on it?
Because, again, for me, it is compromising to do that. Because at that point, as soon as you have a monetary interest in your team losing, you have given up something immediately. That's all. That's
you as
all
an
it is.
individual. I think there's enough people. I think there's enough adults out there that can compartmentalize the bet itself, but still having the rooting interest in wanting what's best for that team every given week. That's a true fan. If you can compartmentalize that, to me, that's a true fan. That's not fan malpractice. It just isn't.
It's like having a side piece. It's not. It's completely disloyal.
What is disloyal about being so strongly confident?
Because you have a monetary interest in your team losing. That's bad. Period. It's compromising.
Grant, I don't think people see it that way. I think you
doesn't matter if people
see.
I don't give a damn if people see it that way or not. I do.
But you said it's fan malpractice or
That's my opinion. I don't care if anybody has a different one.
Okay.
That's the opinion I have.
Fair enough. I think it's wrong, but that's okay. Anyway, moving on to, do we have time? We better. Well, okay, real quickly. The Tom Fornelli put out Big Ten expert predictions. We're going to get to Matt Schick here in just a bit. But had his Big Ten expert picks of the most overrated, underrated teams and projected order of finish. Couple things real quickly, and we can circle back to this after we talk with Matt, is Tom Fornelli. I don't mean to laugh, but I was surprised because I don't ever see this particular team ever listed as an overrated team, especially for a team that's not even picked to finish in the top end of the Big Ten. But Tom Fornelli's most overrated team is Iowa, which
so the last time
is
they had fewer than 8 wins in a season was 2014. Do not count 2020 because that was COVID shortened and they were 6-2 that year. So they checked the box from a winning percentage standpoint that year. I get it. Like, again, we've talked about it a lot on the show. 3 starters back on defense. Quarterback is bleak as all get out, which sort of is year over year for Iowa. And it certainly hasn't mattered for the Hawkeyes against Nebraska. There have been tubs of lard who've started games against Nebraska and won. So,
how did we forget him?
You return. Oh, Mr. I can't remember his name now.
The Deke.
Deacon Hill.
The Deke, guys. Come on, the Deke.
So, anyway, I get it. But at the same time, it's like, I think they're just going to win at a floor. They've established the floor of 8. It's 8 seems to be the floor, and Nebraska fans would kill for 8, as we have discussed extensively. They returned 5 All Big Ten players. Now, here is one reason where you could say maybe they're going to underperform. Not necessarily overrated, underperform. 2, really. Again, the amount of guys that are returning on defense, 3. And then, obviously, the change that they made as special teams coordinator. We're losing LeVar Woods. Like, that's going to be a big deal.
Yeah, it's interesting. Like, I would think if you have Iowa overrated, then you think Iowa's going to hit like 6 wins.
Right. Like, that's exactly right. Like,
and
if they are overrated, how many wins did they get?
It did. It surprised me. A couple votes for Michigan as well. Okay, I
get that one. Michigan has a brutal schedule.
USC and Penn State also in there. Real quickly, before we get to Matt Schick, as far as the order of the predicted order of finish in the Big Ten, they had 5 guys weigh in, Tom Fornelli, Chip Patterson, Brandon Marcello, John Talty, and Richard Johnson. Nebraska, they have picked as high as 11th and as low as 14th. With so one for 11, one for 12, 2 for 13 and 1 for 14.
Yeah, and like Iowa, by the way, we were just spent some time talking about them. 8th to 10th.
Yeah. Again,
they seem fairly rated to me.
I just don't.
I don't think they're overrated. I think they're just rated.
It is interesting. All right, you won't want to miss it. We're going to be talking to Matt Schick of ESPN coming up right after the break as Handley and Hansen continue. AM 590 WOW.
Summer evenings just seem better when you have a home you truly love. Imagine relaxing on the patio, hosting the grandkids, or simply enjoying the peace and comfort of a beautifully crafted home designed for the way you live today, specifically for you. At Edward Custom Homes, our homes are maintenance-free, so you can enjoy company in your backyard. No mowing needed. Award-winning, maintenance-free homes at Edward Custom Homes in a growing Elkhorn community. Book your private tour at edwardcustomhomes.com.
Some people chase trophies. The crew at Monolithic Brewing, they're chasing the perfect pint. Every small batch is built on creativity, collaboration, and a passion for great beer. But don't come hungry expecting just a pint. The kitchen is serving up unique burgers, wraps, and appetizers that are just as memorable. Throw in new beer releases, fun events, and a welcoming neighborhood atmosphere, and you'll see why people keep coming back to Monolithic Brewing. Monolithic Brewing, small batch beer, monumental flavor.
Live music 3 times a week just west of Elkhorn. The Doghouse Saloon in Waterloo. Wednesday nights, it's Chad Lee. Friday nights, live bands. Sunday afternoons, music on the big patio, cold beer in hand. Ride out, drive out, everybody's welcome at the Doghouse. And when the Huskers play, Dog fires up the smoker. So come hungry on game day. Take the Waterloo exit to the Doghouse Saloon. This week's bands are on their Facebook page.
Nebraska weather is unpredictable, but your comfort shouldn't be. When you need reliable heating and cooling, trust John Henry's for professional installation of high-efficiency Lennox systems. Lennox delivers consistent temperatures, quieter operation, and real energy savings all year long. Make the easy call to John Henry's and schedule your free in-home estimate today.
435-5555. John Henry's Plumbing, Heating and Air.
And electrical.
Hey friends, step up to the tea at Bushwood Lounge, Omaha's home for handcraft cocktails done right. From the perfect old-fashioned to creative signatures, every drink is made fresh. And here's the sweetest lie on the course. Happy hour runs 2 to 7 every single day with $1 off every drink. That's right, every drink. Bushwood Lounge on the north side of 114th and Dodge in Omaha. Great cocktails, great company, no membership required. Bushwood Lounge, your happy hour headquarters.
In the Midwest, we experience all 4 seasons, sometimes before lunch. 1 minute it's sunny, and the next you're searching for your flashlight. Skip the panic and enter the Generac Power Play giveaway from AM 590 WOW and Generators for Sale. Just visit 590WOW.com and tell us what you want to protect when the power goes out, and you'll be automatically entered to win a professionally installed Generac whole house generator worth nearly $15,000. But don't wait. Register at 590WOW.com.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
Final hour Monday. It's Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. Excited to be talking some college football, talk some Nebraska, maybe even some Colorado football, because we are talking to one of the more prestigious alums there is in Colorado history, and that is the host of, first of all, ESPN, the Schick and Nick Show, and also co-host of Off Campus on Sirius XM. That is one Matt Schick, or are we talking to Bill from Lincoln? I don't know.
Guys, it's really good to be with you. And, we're going to get a good football team. You guys got a good radio program. And, looking forward to hey, guys, how are you? Sorry, just kind of fall into it every once in a while. Yeah, it's hard.
How you been? I mean, we're in week 0. Like this is when we can finally do away with the injunctions and 5 for 5 and all the other stuff. We can actually talk some football. It's just kind of fun.
Yeah, I kind of miss the local judge rulings and not knowing who's eligible to play and who on the NFL is going to be good to go for the college game next week. But we'll get through it, and we're going to have some toe meeting leather here very shortly, and I think this is. I've always said no one screws up the college football. No one screws up college football more than college football. The off season is probably the worst off season in sports, and it's the best regular season in sports. So I don't know if you can have one without the other, but I'd like to.
Matt, kind of along those lines, Tom Chattel put out a column, a discussion with Troy Dannen just about the level of revenue generation Nebraska has to undergo. And some of that responsibility, or some of that ask, rather, is going to fall upon the common fans. I mean, just how much do you think should be asked of the common fan generally in college sports today on the financial side of things?
Well, where does Nebraska rank in NIL? What's kind of the consensus there in the Big Ten about where they fit?
Middle of the pack.
Yeah, middle of the pack, just barely in the top 30 nationally.
Okay. And I wonder, like, that tier one, is that Ohio State and nobody else? Or is it Ohio State, Oregon? Like, I just don't know how big tier one is and what you're kind of competing with. But I always say with all of this, like, it's not like, you know, we unfortunately think we're Nebraska and Matt Rhule, as you just saw Indiana win it all without a top tier NIL. Now they were paying, but it wasn't like you can do a lot with middle of the pack money or second tier money. And I think it's incumbent upon, frankly, I think I'm done with the fans being asked to have to give. No one's been more giving and loyal than this Nebraska fan base. I mean, the 400 plus sellouts, yeah, maybe it's a little bit shady, but they still show up. They still care. And now they're being asked to care more for a product that hasn't delivered. And no investor would want to hand over dead money following dead money. And so I think that's why this year is as critical as ever for this team and Matt Rhule to show a little more proof of concept that, yeah, we're trending in the right direction, but we need to take a step here, and maybe that'll encourage other people to step forward and compensate people more. But I'm, in this economy and everything that's going on, like, it's just not good timing to ask people for money. And if you're going to do it, you better have a proven winner. And I don't think you can win without money, but I also think you're not going to get money unless you win.
And I think, Matt, you're right. As we're talking to Matt Schick, it's Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. You look at what this season represents on the field for year fourth Matt Rhule, but I think unintentionally, by what Troy Dannen said, it puts a little bit much more onus on the product of the field this season. And having said all that, what are your feelings of what this team is? Because it just seems like no one has a real strong feel of what this season could look like for Nebraska.
Yeah, it's the one season that I can think of where there was little anticipation for it. It's probably because of the schedule. It's probably because of the letdown of last season, and likely also because the player you thought you were going to build the program around, Dylan Raiola, decides to leave and maybe didn't pan out as quickly as people had hoped. And now you're looking at a guy who is on his third school, and that third school is you. In Anthony Calandra. I mean, that doesn't happen to Nebraska. And so there's a lot going into this. But yeah, significantly, I think for the Huskers, I made the comment earlier today on Sirius XM, that if they don't start 5-0, people are going to start buying gasoline for the tiki torches. And if they're anything worse than 4-1, we can start planning for basketball season. I mean, that's kind of where this thing is at. So it's 5-0 it's 4-1 at the very least, and then knocking off a big dog. I mean, it's time to start doing that. If you want to be a big dog player in the financial world, you got to show you can compete with them. And hopefully, I think above all else, this team stays healthy, especially at the quarterback position. And but the schedule, to me, if you had to make me pick, I'd say they're right around 7-5, 8-4, and I think with this schedule, 8-4 would be actually pretty dang good.
If they fall short of that, Matt, if they go 6-6, or God forbid miss a bowl game, what should the expectation or for Nebraska's administration be regarding actions for the 27 season, given what Nebraska has coming in?
Well, I mean, in terms of expectations, I don't think expectations necessarily change, but Matt Rhule's not going anywhere unless there's an off the field scandal or they go 2-10. I mean, that's just the way that's going to be. They decided to sign him for a long-term deal or extend him that last season. And, some of these things come at a price and some of them aren't great timing. But, if they fall on their face again this season, the beauty of college football is if you've got money, you can turn over the roster. Now, that's not sustainable, and that's not how Nebraska is built. Frankly, I don't think this team does fall off the map this season. I don't think they miss out on a bowl game. I just don't. I think there's too much care. There's too much good coaching. There's too many good players. They're too deep at specific positions. I get the fatalistic approach, but I'm not really buying into that this year for Nebraska. The thing that I like most about them is that they've been quiet. They've shut their mouths and gone to work. And Matt Rhule hasn't said very much, and that's good. Hopefully there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and I would trust that there is.
Talking to Matt Schick, it's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW. If you look at just the landscape of college football right now with coaches that are going into some very important seasons, we're going to get an early taste of that, especially in your neck of the woods, too, with North Carolina out in Dublin playing in the Aer Lingus Classic. When you think of this Bill Belichick kind of experiment right now, I guess, experience or whatever for UNC, is there belief that they can at least move the needle forward this year? And if it doesn't get better than 6-7 wins, are we talking about a vacancy at UNC?
Well, I would say if they get 6 or 7 wins with this schedule, they might throw a parade.
That's true.
There for him. Like, honestly, this thing is over. It was over before it started. And it's hard to say Bill Belichick is dead man walking, although some might argue he's already kind of comatose. He's very old. I mean, that's just a joke. But look, there's nobody better in the history of football at coaching than Bill Belichick. But this was not the right person for this job. When it happened, they would call me up for a local interview, and everyone was kind of excited because of the name. And I just said, you got to get past that because he hasn't coached college football in how long, and he's going to be asked to do what, and meet with donors and have energy, and you can't just say on to Cincinnati. Like, there has to be something palpable there, and it just hasn't worked out. Now, you go back to last season, they were probably 2 or 3 plays away from getting 2 or 3 more wins, and then we're having maybe a different conversation about it. Close loss against Virginia, close loss against Cal, close loss against Duke. They had these opportunities. Didn't happen. But when your GM is likely on the way out, your son defensive coordinator has to take a leave of absence, and you've got games at Clemson, at Pitt, at Duke, you've got Miami, you've got Louisville, you're at Virginia. I wouldn't be stunned if he's not the head coach when we turn the calendar to November. It's just when things get so bad and you've got an early signing period, you can't be waiting this long. Yeah. And Bubba Cunningham did not want Bill Belichick. He wanted others. John Summerall was on the list. There were others on this list that he wanted to pursue. And he was kind of forced. His hand was forced a little bit behind the scenes. And I think he's the one laughing now.
When you think about the college football landscape as a whole, Matt, what's the most overrated team out there right now?
The one that people are talking about probably a little too much to me would be LSU. I think LSU at number 11, too many transfers and a big question at quarterback and Sam Leavitt. They might have enough talent to get through. I don't know if they have enough depth to get through. There's a lot of this playoff or bust thing. And I know Jordan Rodgers said national championship or bust. That's just simply not true with this team, unless they can get enough NFL players over the next week to come back. Maybe that'll be a change. But I would put them at the top of the list. Another team that's probably getting a little too much love, in my judgment, would be Penn State. I always say if you're picking a team because of their schedule, eventually the schedule is going to come up and bite you. Here's the bottom line about all this. I have no idea how good most of these teams are going to be. But the ones that check the box with returning quarterbacks that are likely going to be high round picks, like a Dante Moore in Oregon, like a Julian Saint at Ohio State, like Notre Dame. I mean, Arch Manning, like those are the ones that you can trust. Darian Mintz at Miami. I get it. Indiana with the system that they have. It's hard to say any of those teams are getting a little too much love. Texas A&M to me is kind of the X factor in all of this. They've got an answer at quarterback. They've had some changes on the offensive line. That's been the real question. And can they withstand that schedule? We'll see. I think Oklahoma is probably the most polarizing team of them all. There's some saying they're, 9th or 10th best in the SEC, and some saying they're going to go win it and play for the SEC crown. So there's the John Mateer to me is kind of the swing player in all the SEC. If he plays as well as he did pre-injury and doesn't get nicked up and his sinewy biceps are showcased in the Red River rivalry, then maybe Oklahoma can be the team to beat.
Matt, Colorado, 4.5. Which way you leaning with your Buffs?
I mean, it's too bad you can't push 4.5.
Yeah, push. Why not?
Why not? I don't. It's so hard. It's so hard. I mean, I'll probably say the under. It feels like a 4-8 team. Juju Lewis. This season is really important for Colorado for a lot of different reasons. If it doesn't go very well, my guess is it'll be the last for Deion Sanders. Maybe it'll be of his own accord, but it's been a slog. And Julian Lewis is as talented as they come. Got to watch him in high school at Carrollton High in Georgia, and he was pinpoint accurate, kind of thrown into the fire last year. Takes a little flack for I get to study defenses now. I wasn't doing that last year. It's like, all right, well, I mean, I guess film study would be great, but he was drinking from a fire hose last year. But, Danny Scudero, who comes over from San Jose State, is he healthy? Is he going to be ready to go this season? Talented wideout. There's just so many transfers that it's hard to peg how good they're going to do. But give me 4-8 for the Buffs, and I'll have my tail between my legs.
No, it's okay. No one was keeping receipts in Nebraska,
Of course not.
No, absolutely not. Matt, it's always great talking to you. I hope we can do it soon. Continue the great success, not only on TV, the podcast is fantastic. Everything else you do as well with off campus. Great stuff. Always appreciate when we can chat with you.
Nick, guys, thanks. Great to catch up with you again, and anytime. Just give me a buzz.
Great stuff there. Matt Schick, again, host of Off Campus on SiriusXM. Of course, you see him on ESPN. All of the college coverage, whether it's ACC Network, ESPN, wherever. You're going to see Matt Schick right there. And, of course, a great podcast with he and Nick Baugh in the Schick and Nick Show. We're going to come back as we get a little bit closer in here this 4 o'clock hour. We'll tell you what's on tap. Also, more from the college football conversation, talking about Matt Schick and some of those coaching hot seats that we will rediscuss here on the other side of the break. It's Handley and Hansen on AM 590 WOW.
The Husker Practice Report with Sean Callahan is brought to you by Physicians Mutual.
Physicians Mutual. Training camp officially came to a close for Nebraska on Saturday as Matt Rhule's football team wrapped things up with about 110 play scrimmage.
Today's the marks the end of training camp for us. We've done a really nice job so far, improving. We still have a long ways to go, obviously. I'm really pleased with the growth I've seen, the things I've seen, the way the teams come together, the way they work. Excited to start this next phase. Ended with a scrimmage today. All the sides did well.
And no surprise, but Anthony Calandria will be Nebraska's starter at quarterback.
Anthony would play for us right now. All the quarterbacks have done a nice job. Anthony, I think the biggest thing is he's very competitive, very fiery. He expects to win every play, but he's done a nice job of disciplining himself to also take what's there, makes nice checks in the run-pass game, can throw the ball deep. And I think the biggest thing is he extends a ton of plays with his legs, which takes a lot of pressure off of the offensive line and the backs in protection and puts a lot of pressure on the defense.
Classes officially begin here at UNL on Monday. Reporting with the Nebraska football team in Lincoln, I'm Sean Callahan of HuskerOnline.com.
Born and raised right here, Physicians Mutual understands Nebraska values because we live them every day. For 125 years, we've kept our promise to be there when customers like you need it most. When you choose Physicians Mutual, you can rest easy knowing we will help protect what matters most to you with insurance for health, life, and retirement. Built on trust, focused on your future. Visit physiciansmutual.com.
Physicians Mutual, Physicians Mutual.
Evan, Canty, and Michelle are unsportsmanlike.
I don't know that you need Jeannie Buss being able to conduct the business and the day-to-day operations of the franchise. You have Bob Iger. If you need another face, you got Magic Johnson that's still there. From a player standpoint, from an alumni standpoint, And for somebody that's in the business community, I got all the faces I need.
Unsportsmanlike. Weekday mornings 5 to 9, AM 590, WOW. Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
Exciting times, Nick.
Oh?
We'll be, 72 hours removed from calling my first college football game of the 2026 season. Midland and Dickinson State. Doing a little prep. Prep during the commercial break. So I'm excited. It's here. It's finally here. College football is finally here, and it's going to be so great this week and this weekend to watch it all play out on TV. We can finally leave some of this crap, like, again, the garbage that we talked about with Matt Schick, the garbage that we talked about, haven't touched on yet, but that's going on with the LSU side of things, LSU Ole Miss interconference transfers after guys went to the collegiate football ranks, all that stuff. 531-895-0590, the number to call the show. It's AM 590 WOW, the show, Handley and Hansen. I'm Grant Hansen. He is Nick Handley. And Nick, there's still some Matt Rhule audio to get through from Saturday's press conference, in which, where do you want to go first?
Well,
here?
yeah, in the wake I just saw of Pat Fitzgerald announcing their team's captains, as we were talking about Michigan State. And it's interesting, Matt Rhule, he talked about this earlier. This isn't the soundbite we actually have, but he talked about how they're not really sure how they're going to do captains. It might be a little bit later on, might be in the season. And I like what he had to say and his reasoning behind it, because I wholeheartedly agree when it comes to the front-running mentality. But this was Matt Rhule talking a little bit more about, he was asked about, is there that brotherhood that's starting to build up with this team? And I thought he had an interesting response to that question on Saturday.
I think it's both. I think certainly, when we talk about brotherhood, we're talking about, guys who will lay down for each other, guys who will sacrifice for each other, guys who aren't going to make it about just one player, guys who are going to, be happy when someone at their position has success, even if it affects them negatively. We talk about, iron sharpening iron, holding each other accountable. There's all these different aspects to brotherhood that we feel like are important on the team. And when you bring a bunch of new people in, whether it's, to Mitch's question, a bunch of coaches coming from different places, or a bunch of players, freshmen, guys who've been here, guys coming in, we just don't want different, you can be friends with who you want to be friends with off the field, but we don't want different cliques. We don't want this is the guys who are here. And I haven't seen any of that. But true, when everyone's getting equal reps and everyone's getting practice, everything's great, right? When you get in the season and this guy's touched the ball 8 times, this guy's touched the ball 2, who's truly going to have joy when the other guy makes a play? And so all signs point to that being well, but it's something I think you have to coach and teach and demand every day.
So it's funny when we talk about a lot of the wait and see approach that Matt Rhule has had with he did it a lot on Saturday. It's just been very consistent from spring to where we are today of, certain players. And he was asked if anybody had kind of stood out. And again, he kind of talks about how, he's not quick to call out individuals. If he's asked specifically about somebody, he'll answer. And again, he's just giving you this, yeah, things are cool now, but we'll see when the season gets going. Just like when he talks about the overall mood of the team. And I think that is very revealing. And I think it's revealing on a couple of different fronts here. I think first of all, it's Matt Rhule having been around the game long enough and knowing that you can have what seems to be a great camp, great camaraderie, going all the way back to winter, going back to spring, summer, all of that. But then when the live bullets are flying and you don't come out on top in certain games and things get a little testy amongst, a locker room that has 100 players, yeah, there's going to be some front running going on. Guys that you thought were going to be your leaders or guys that you thought had a lot of those characteristics all of a sudden are front runners and are not all in on the team even when things are going hard. And I think as he brought that up with the clicks and talked about how, everything's good until one guy maybe gets 8 carries as opposed to 2 carries. I think it's interesting. And it also makes me wonder, because I totally agree with what he's saying. I think the maybe one of the biggest cancers in any locker room in any sport is that front running mentality.
Oh yeah.
And it creates division. It gets people, creates disputes that sometimes you can't overcome. But it also makes me wonder when he's talking about that. He mentioned a few different times between the captain's question and this question is I do wonder how much he's had to deal with that either at Nebraska or what previous Nebraska coaches have had to deal with that. Is that more of a It's just kind of how guys are these days, like how student athletes are these days. I do wonder how much of that they've had to deal with that at Nebraska.
Yeah, and I always thought the other thing I thought was interesting on this whole leadership front was just sort of the comment like, look, I mean, it's not the same as it was for players in the past. That could be 90s guys. Shoot, that could be in 2010. Because captain doesn't mean the same thing that it did not even 5 years ago.
Right.
Because guys come from so many different places. And so, like, the idea, it's like, well, back in my day, we did things this way. It's like, yeah, it's going to be different. And, I think that's true in anything. But especially with the changes that college athletics have undergone in the last 5 years, it's even more true with this. And so leadership means something different. It takes a different shape than it did before. And I just, it's something that's important to really consider, especially when it's like, well, there are no true, are there true captains? Are they the single digit guys? Also, if you do have captains, are they guys that have not been on your team for 4+ years or even 2+ years, right? Like, it's just, there's a lot to adjust to. And that even, further emphasizes the importance of guys who are your GMs, like Pat Stewart or Matt Rhule, the head coach, to make decisions to bring guys into the fold that reflect your team's values and the values of your culture, because there's more guys coming and going for programs than ever before. And you need to make sure you make the right choices in a pretty short amount of time. I mean, you don't have a lot of time to make those decisions during the transfer portal period.
What I like about the idea of even waiting as the season plays out, and I know there's the example of Kurt Cignetti does this as well, but more to Matt Rhule's point there, you don't really know maybe in some situations who you truly have as like those bona fide season-long captains until the season itself actually starts, kind of to his point of, well, these guys seem like they've been here, they've done that, the team respects them and everything, but I'll make sure that, if we're, say, 3-1, heaven forbid 3-2, going into Indiana, and you got these guys that you're leaning on as captains to be sort of your secondary, mouthpiece and tone setters, and all of a sudden these guys are, pissing and moaning, and they're woe is me as well. That's not going to be very effective leadership there too. Right. So I can understand the merit behind having guys sort of earn that through some of the battles actually on the field as opposed to camp. It was interesting. Another guy that was brought up, and this is, for anybody who knows Dave Tollefson, this is the most accurate portrayal of Dave Tollefson and why you have to love this guy, and why I do think this defensive line, having him help out on top of the coaches that are there as well, but just having him in the room, being able to evaluate and help with technique is going to be fantastic for this group. But Matt Rhule was asked about some of the coaches and the bowl prep and some of the guys that were around, brings up Dave Tollefson here.
Yeah, I don't think a ton of impact by me. I mean, I think I just kind of stood in the gap. Dave Tollefson, who was at the Giants when I was there, he kind of just, we had brought in a guest who he was friends with, so he spent some time, and I knew Dave. He just kept showing up, unpaid. I didn't apply for a job, and one day I was like, hey, you should just stick around him. So we started paying him. Those are my kind of guys, Lots of people, ask me for a job. Some people just start doing the job, and you end up hiring him. He's one of those guys. So I thought Dave did a really nice job in the bowl prep. Phil Simpson did a nice job in the bowl prep.
It's just keep showing up because Dave not only loves to talk ball, Dave knows ball. It's a major passion. I've been able to experience this firsthand many, many times, whether it was on a radio show, but some of my favorite conversations with Dave were at commercial breaks or before he would show up. I would hang out with him, and the conversations would always be, because he knew I was a big Bears fan. We'd talk some NFL, and he'd talk about the Bears, but then we would talk college ball, and this was when he was helping out with Iowa Western and Scott Strohmeyer, and he would just be telling me about all the defensive linemen that they have. I mean, the guy, he loves to be around these guys, and the guy is a perfect example of someone who he was very successful at Northwest Missouri State, and then he gets an opportunity in the NFL, made the most of it, gets 2 rings out of it as well. He's a guy that I think of when you're looking at some of those secondary coaches that I say secondary position coaches, whether they're analysts or not the full-time position coach themselves, but you're looking for an extension of that position coach, or you're looking for an extension of just the defensive coordinator. Guys like Dave Tollison in those analyst roles, I think are extremely valuable, because I think there's a lot of ability for those players to connect with what Dave went through himself, but a guy that is just an absolute technician geek when it comes to playing that position.
Yeah, I don't know if we'll hear from him before fall camp, at least at the podium. I'll be curious his thoughts on the progression of this line, and where they've taken steps forward. And then once you actually get into the season, like, to be able to analyze like how the schematic changes either help them or not, if it doesn't actually take steps forward for them.
Yeah.
Another guy in a similar role that maybe we'll hear from tomorrow will be offensive assistants tomorrow at the podium for Nebraska football is Lonnie Teasley, who is in that assistant offensive line coach role as well.
Yep.
So, that's another key recruiter for Nebraska out on the trail too. So, two valuable pieces, and it's important. I mean, it's a big change for the sport, just being able to go beyond those 10 paid assistants. And that was another key change in the last 5 years.
And having them be able to actually teach, not just sit there on a computer and not be present at practices and all that. All right, going to wrap things up, tell you what's on tap as we close things out here on a Monday, get you set up for Sports Nightly. It's Handley and Hansen, AM 590 WOW.
Time now for Huskers All Access, brought to you by Access Bank, here for a reason.
Dustin Evans, kind enough to join us again. Now, who are the psychos? Who are the great personalities in that room?
I think the room is everybody brings something different to the table. You get what I'm saying? Like, I'm the level-headed one of the other group. I keep the pace going. We have some of the crazy ones. The tackles are usually, the guys who like to get a little chirpy or get a little crazy. But I think as a unit, we have to be psycho. Am I right? And a lot of times people think, O-line is we defense is starting to fight. Nah, we're gonna start the fight. You know what I'm saying? And that's going to be our standard and our expectation. That's the expectation and the standard, that when I leave here and then I come back to visit, I'm like, okay, these guys are following the standard and they're knowing what it takes to become the best and what it takes to, be a great leader on the team or be a great offense.
I got to ask you now, if you could have gone D1 in another sport, what would it have been?
Sometimes I feel like football is the only sport I am good at. But if I had to choose what sport I was good at, I would probably say I would love to be a fast track runner. Us big guys, we're not the fastest, but I would love to just be a sprinter.
This has been Huskers All Access, brought to you by Access Bank. For the full interview, visit our Facebook page, AM 590 WOW. Husker fans know the value of a strong return. Your savings should deliver one too. With the Growth Money Market account from Access Bank, you can earn a competitive 3.25% APY. No tiers, no loopholes. And you can still access your funds whenever you need them. Keep your money ready for what's next, from big opportunities to everyday needs. Named a Forbes Best Bank in 2025, Access Bank is the local bank helping your money work smarter. Learn more or open your account today at accessbank.com. Member FDIC. Restrictions may apply.
Hey guys, it's Handley for the Men's Health Clinic out on 156th and Dodge in Pepperwood Village. Look, I've been talking to you about the treatment that I've gone through, especially with the pre-arthritic knee and getting the peptide, the Wolverine Stack peptide, and it's made such a huge difference for me. But with our age, and I'm in my 40s, look, there could be other things that you need to get checked out. And I'm telling you, it is so simple at the Men's Health Clinic. From the initial consultation, just going over your blood work, everything is explained to you in a way that you can understand. And then you talk about different treatments and products that are going to help you. And not anybody else, but you and your goals. The biggest thing for me was there was zero pressure. They didn't tell me what I needed. They looked at my results, listened to what I wanted to accomplish, and helped me understand what might, or better yet, what might not make sense for me. And, that's just part of it. You might need testosterone optimization. Maybe GLP-1 weight loss plan would be good. Peptides, or you might not need any treatment at all. But you won't know until you take that first step. Get in there to 156 and Dodge. That's the Men's Health Clinic right there in the Pepperwood Village. Or find out more at themenshealthclinic.com.
offers catering and group meals, making it easy to impress your guests without the work and let the luau begin. Now in 3 Omaha locations, it's never been easier to take your taste buds on a mini vacation at Hawaiian Bros and eat like you're on island time. Hawaiian Bros, serving summer to Nebraska year-round. Now open in Elkhorn.
Welcome back to Handley and Hansen. Give us a call and share your thoughts. 531-895-0590.
A big thank you to our guests on the show today, including Evan Bland and Matt Schick. If you missed any of the show, be sure to check out the podcast, and you can do so at 590WOW.com, or if you don't have the free AM 590WW app, well, what are you waiting for? But get that, and you can also listen to previous shows, guests, anything you want is right there. All you got to do is go to your Apple or Google Play stores, or you can also download it by going to 590WOW.com. What's on tap tonight? Sports Nightly is following us. Big week of Husker athletics as volleyball gets underway on Thursday. But you've got the athletic director hour starting right at 6 o'clock. So Troy Dannen will be on, and that actually might be given
what
some
we
of
spent all day talking about.
Yes, the conversation. I know not just us, but others amongst the local media have been talking about is Nebraska's place in this NIL world, especially as it pertains to football. I'm sure Troy Dannen will answer questions on that and in other topics relating to Husker athletics. That's coming up at 6. And then after that, we got McGraw-Millhaven right here on AM 590 WOW. Now, what's on tap? I'm going to do something a little bit different for a moment here. So Saturday, we know that is week 0. We've got, of course, the marquee matchup at 11 a.m. between North Carolina and TCU out in Dublin, which would be 5 o'clock.
Local time?
Dublin time, I believe. Yes.
You are our leading expert.
I now know. I feel confident about that. So it should be 5 o'clock. But you got San Jose State, USC. You get NC State, Virginia. So you do get some Power 4 conference teams going head-to-head.
One ranked team.
Yeah, exactly. So you get a little bit of that. Which game has you guys the most excited in week 0?
NC State, Virginia.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, the UNLV of it is interesting a little bit too. I don't know if it's interesting enough to like hook me and have me seated
UNLV
from
Memphis?
9 to midnight.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm kind of curious how things move on for them post Calandria. Florida State, New Mexico State. There's some sicko potential there if things like really go off the rails for Florida State early. And I know we talked about the hot seat for Mike Norvell. I don't see that happening. Right now, Florida State a 31-point favorite there. If it did happen, but it's got to be NC State, Virginia. TCU is only a 7.5-point favorite right now, only 7.5.
Over
North Carolina, and
I'm into.
Man,
I don't know why I'm into that game because I just think I think it has a chance to be very, very sloppy.
I hope it's competitive. I mean, that's all I want it to be. Is just have it be entertaining. Because even Georgia Tech, Florida State a couple of years ago, like that wasn't a game that we thought going in was going to be that great. And then it ended up being a fantastic football game. In fact, most of these games have been pretty good down there.
I mean, at least Nebraska Northwestern was entertaining.
Not
entertaining for them. I mean, the end result wasn't great for Nebraska, but
so I mean, I just
Iowa State, K-State,
and 7.5 usually makes me nervous. Is a sort of line, but here it's like I almost surprised. I almost feel like it's low. We'll see if it moves.
I feel like we're missing the best game on the board here. Do we not remember how good Hawaii and Stanford was last year? Well, now we get the return leg in the first year of the Tavita Pritchard era. And oh, by the way, Mike Alajado's not off a bum leg anymore. He's actually going to be playing on 2 solid feet for Hawaii. And
what's the spread in that one?
You have to really work hard to find the ACC network. I've got it here.
What is it?
5.5 Stanford.
There you
Stanford,
go.
Okay.
They got the competitive game right there. And also another one to look at. I think Jacksonville State at North Dakota State could really be a tight contest.
Especially with North Dakota State moving up now. That's their first
Jacksonville
Division
State's got
One
talent.
contest.
Yeah, Jacksonville State's got talent, man. I mean, they're not going to be slouches. UNLV, we get to see the unveiling of the Jackson Arnold era with Dan Mullen at UNLV as Memphis heads out to the Sin City. So there's a couple of great B-tier games on there. But yeah, I mean, I love that Hawaii-Stanford game. I think that thing's going to be a barn burner.
On the diamond tonight, if you're wanting to indulge in a little baseball, you've got the Rangers at the White Sox. Hey, by the way, Cleveland back in second. They are now in a postseason spot.
Hey.
Game and a half clear in the wild card right now after winning 4 in a row.
Not the hottest team in baseball.
No, White Sox, Rangers. You got the Cubs at the Diamondbacks. Twins are at the A's out on the West Coast. That'll be an 8:40 game. Also, Phillies, Mariners, Pirates, Padres, and the Reds are the Giants. All those are in the latter portion of the 8 o'clock hour for your viewing pleasure. Games in action right now. Red Sox, Marlins. Rays are leading early on the Tigers 2-0. And the Rockies and Nats are just underway in the bottom of the first inning.
Grant, did you take the weekend to get into the Yellowstone universe or the Yellowstone cinematic universe? Are you even going to try to plunge into the deep end on that?
Nope. I'm waiting. I'm waiting until I'm done with stuff on HBO. I'm going to wait. And then I mean, Yellowstone might be low enough on the list that it's like,
is it even worth it to get
might
there?
go to Apple first. Go back to Apple first before I go back to Yellowstone.
Don't do that.
No. I think there's more than Paramount. That's what's on Paramount.
We're watching a quick little mini series on Netflix. We did this Thursday night into Friday night, and then we got a couple in the weekend. It's called His and Hers.
I saw that.
I know.
It's interesting. So remember Creed? You guys saw the Creed movies?
Mm-hmm.
His girlfriend, fiance, then wife, that has she's like hearing impaired.
Mm-hmm.
She's the gal in this one.
You mean Tessa Thompson?
Is that her name? Okay, yeah. I didn't know.
I would have recognized her from the Thor movies.
Oh,
she plays Valkyrie in Thor.
Yep.
Oh,
yeah.
I never put that together. I thought she was in Creed, and that was it.
We need more of these. Is it good? I mean, it's a
That's
7.
not bad.
It's like a 7. I'm like,
it's not bad because there's 2 episodes left, and I have no idea what's going to happen. Like it usually like, okay, I see where this is going and everything. I have no clue what's going to happen. So yeah, it's pretty decent.
Okay.
I'd recommend it. It's a quick watch. You could probably knock it out in a few nights if you're committed.
Do
it now because
Presumed
before
Innocent,
we're going to have football and everything going on.
Presumed Innocent, and then there's another one on Apple that's like similar, like one-off single season legal thrillers.
Those are fun.
I think those are great.
I do. I love those.
Or you can watch Batman: The Caped Crusader second season out on Amazon Prime. So if you and the little one need something to watch, get into a little Batman.
Oh, he loves Batman, that's for sure. For Justice Rhody and Grant Hansen, I'm Nick Handley. Thank you so much for listening and watching. Handley and Hansen here on AM 590 WOW. Sports Nightly's coming up next. We'll talk to you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. Until then, have a great night. We'll see you then. Good night.